happened. So obviously it was very volatile, but we had a lot good going for us today. The market taking a decisive move down. We are down 2.25% on the NQ and almost down 2% right now on the ES. We were talking, Joey, that we hadn't had a plus 1% or minus 1% day in quite some time, with the VIX being so subdued. That obviously changes today with a bigger move down.
Yeah, it started off. The VIX started off pretty good, but now it's kind of cooled off there. So we're still slightly a little bit red there. So, but I'm out of all of my positions except for the VIX and ETHA, Sharif. I sold my IBIT calls this morning. I sold my NVDA position this morning as well too.
Well, you made some money on that because it was up in the high 70s.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys. Obi, he's in for Sean. As you know, Sean with the day off. Neil and Obi are on that side, the big boys. Going to take you into the close. See you guys.
See ya.
Great midday show, gentlemen. I don't know, in honor of the late Bill Paxton, are we saying, it's game over, man? We're all gonna die. It's game over, man. The market's done. This is the top. Forget about it. First of all, I don't know, you probably, maybe you have seen Aliens? No?
Like Alien versus Predator?
I mean, no, but that's...
Okay.
That's close. It means you've seen an Alien movie, and that's good enough.
Yeah.
No, there's a character, like in Aliens, the second Aliens movie.
Okay.
This time, instead of it on the first one, you know about the first one, right?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so in the first one, they're just randos on a ship, and they're not ready for any of this crap. They're just civilians, right, on the ship. The second one, they're supposed to be badass Marines. And one of them, played by Bill Paxton, let's just say when the you-know-what hits the fan, his bravery was not his, that wasn't his thing.
Not his forte.
Like, he was very realistic about their, but the crazy thing about it, he was very realistic about their chances. He's the only one who's like, man, we're screwed. And they were, and that's what was so cool about it. But I don't think it's over. I'm not saying it's over yet, but at the same time, the topic, the candles, the charts, okay, I don't know why I'm looking at UNH, because someone said is UNH down 10%, they're not just yet. But if you look at what's going on in the Qs, it's undeniable. We get Fed, we get the notion that maybe we're not going to get the cuts that we're expecting, although the September rate cut odds did go up a little bit. This is a very distinct trend break that's happening on the Qs, on the SPY. Like when you look at something like a Coinbase that reported monster trend break on coin and just falling apart.
Oh yeah.
When everyone thought that they were going to have great numbers has been talked about. So there's a huge turn happening, obviously. And if you're short, great today. But yeah, for anybody that wasn't taking profit on the way up, it's like, oh no, did we just miss our chance to get things?
Hood is going too. I just got in because I was like, I was short. Oh boy, there it goes. I was short earlier. I think Neil and I both tried this a couple of times. I'm not gonna lie, I was hella tilted. I was taking size. I was just like boom, 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 get chopped, get chopped, get chopped. I actually went green to red on this one pretty badly. And then finally, you know what? If you like every price to sell, eventually you might catch the top, right? So I had 104.20s, and guess what? I covered 102s. I'm like, oh boy, it's still going. You know what? It's okay. It's okay. You know, sometimes you leave a couple dollars on the table. That's fine. That's fine. You take the continuation because now it's deciding to revert to VWAP. Let's see if 100 is going to come in now. But yeah, Coinbase, the market as well, taking out lows. So we were just talking about this Coinbase, and I looked over. I was like, oh boy, that's looking like a clean break.
It is.
And then I'm like, wait, I was already short Hood. I'm just going to get short Hood because it's the same sector, right? Pretty much.
That is a clean break on Robinhood. Now, on Coinbase. Now 17% to the downside. No, it's just the whole. Well, if you like every single short, you'll eventually catch the top.
Yeah, exactly, right? The thing is, when I realized it's like if I just manage my risk effectively, eventually I might catch the move. I got to clean that up much better. But
I don't mind taking multiple swings at something. But just as long as it's not like
within risk.
Yeah.
Within risk.
I think there's there's gaps that you sit out. Like I like this short, and okay, wait. There's okay, try that one, wait, and then try the next one. Because that's what I did that with Intel today to finally get it. But I don't think I never want to be constantly in it the entire time. But man, that Coinbase breakdown. Yikes, was that ever a clean break on coin? But it's not just Coinbase, man. Like Amazon,
Amazon.
8.5% down for Amazon. It never went SSR, so I guess I said the only way I was going to trade Amazon today is if it got down 10% and take a shot at it. But yeah, the bleed is on. At least there was something fundamental you could point to. Yep. That cloud, the AWS growth was just, it's not there. You know, if they're going to sell off Microsoft after the gap up on fantastic cloud growth in the high 30s, when you come in the teens, they're gonna sell you right off the bat, and the buyers haven't really come back into it. Unfortunately for Amazon, we are going to get to the symbols that you guys want to talk about, but
yes.
Before we do that, there is one of the positions that I do want to, because I'm probably going to get out of PayPal here. Everything else in this space just tanked, and PayPal's coming right back into my entry. Essentially, it was just a breakdown under 67 that I grabbed. And I hung on to a piece for the dream of 66, but with the market and some of the crypto names moving to the downside, for this to be holding the double bottom, I don't know how badly I want to reload it, but we'll see. I still might end up reloading this in the 90s if it starts to look weak again. But my stop's at the 67 area. I wanted to make sure I let you guys know before we find out what symbols we should be talking about. I bet you Tesla's there.
Welcome, everyone, to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. Neil and Obi locked and loaded, ready to look at the tickers as decided by you. But the only way to get those tickers up there, get into that chat and vote for your favorite tickers every day. It's super simple. You just throw in that $sign followed by a 3, 4, or 5-letter ticker. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share as well, guys. Here's a look at all 4 major averages. And as you can see, there's a lot of red on the board. All 4 major averages right on the day, being led by the NQ, down over 2%, down 2.15. Oh, actually being led here by the Russell 2000, taking an even bigger hit, 2.25% down there, about 1 4/5 red for the ES, and the Dow faring the best of the bunch here, down 1.5%. So a lot of negativity today on these markets. Even Robinhood, after getting a great earnings report earlier this week, down 2 1/3%. Here, multiple rating agencies now subsequent to the report chiming in. Barclays maintaining their overweight rating and raising the price target to 120. Citi maintaining their neutral rating, but they did boost the price target to 120 as well. Mizuho maintaining outperform and raising the price target. Let me give you guys a guess. 120. 3 120s.
Oh boy.
So they like $120 on Robinhood, apparently. It just means they have all the same logic. But we were talking about the whole analyst thing with regard to the price action in Coinbase going into their earnings. And like, if it was so obvious that somebody was holding the offer every time it got bullish into a level, did they know something, and could we have known something as well? I don't know. I feel like sometimes, maybe it could be insider. Who knows? As far as Robinhood goes, just talking about old stuff, I basically only successful trade was a 100 long. Like when it broke away from 100, you could see the acceleration. I had that, but then I flipped to trying the short. I literally got up to take a walk after that one, and so did not get the back end of the trade. Every single time it did this and started to flow, that's when I would get in. I did it here when I got out of the long, but now it's following through. I have a similar trade in Intel, but that's what it is. What it is. I think as far as Robinhood goes, I know there's that bounce. Look, it's a very nice V-shaped bounce. But it doesn't change how I feel about where this stock is on the daily. It's a good bounce, but to me, these are double top, lower high. I think we're pulling back. That's just what it feels like here in Hood. The fact that you might close underneath the 100, that would be bearish as well. Even if it were to close just barely eking out like 101, 102, it's like that's not even that good. So yeah, feeling bearish on the daily chart here, that you could be in for a pretty decent retracement after earnings. And ultimately, it doesn't always matter what the numbers are, even if they are pretty solid. Profits have been taken, everybody. That's all it is.
Yeah,
being taken, I should say.
I think Robinhood was definitely one to watch out for, man. I was involved in it a little bit earlier. You can see right here, this is a 1 minute chart. I don't really necessarily trade on 1 minute that often, but I was watching this one a little bit. Normally I just watch a 3 minute. You can see here, attempted the short in the morning. Here, that's kind of covered by my face, so right here. So tried the short in the morning below the opening range low because we did come in off of earnings, nice little quadung, so another step down off of the reaction there, but holding that 93. So after I saw that, and after I saw this aggressive push, I did attempt a little bit of the short because it was such a grinding bid, and then I was like, oh boy, definitely not a good place to short, as it's just grinding and squeezing and taking out stops multiple times over and over again. Eventually I flip long. Don't even hold that long for very long. I get out right as it pushes that 100 mark, probably because I have some horrible prices and maybe not the best average, so I'm getting a little antsy on that. Missed this whole leg up, but this grind up, Neil, was absolutely crazy. It was almost like very squeezy grind up, very much like buy algo type of action there. Maybe people saw the 120 price target and just started buying. Like there was so much buying, and I was like, this is crazy. This is obviously overextended a little bit. I did get a little aggressive a little too early, but I did well to keep it pretty tight every time, and eventually did catch a little bit of that 104, but only to take it off at 102.70s. But you can see absolutely beautiful reversion happening right now, all the way down into VWAP. Let's see if we can come into some of these prior consolidations as well. So beautiful reversion of the flush that we got off of earnings right here. You can see a strong push right there. Earnings day 2, that was today, and yeah, reverted pretty much into yesterday's range, and then reversion of the reversion currently happening back down into VWAP. This was an aggressively strong bid, pretty much. If you were looking at it, it was just kind of it wouldn't give up 20, 30 pennies lower every time it did drop down, and then just continued to rip right back up. And the aggression on the bid that pushed into the ask, oh boy, every time very squeezy into the ask there. So let's see if it can come down into VWAP. Almost there. I got short here on that consolidation breakdown. We pointed out that Coinbase and the market as well was taking a little bit of a flush, and that is working out okay as of right now. So that's the look on Hood there. Earnings day 2. Maybe it's poised for more, but great trading vehicle it's been.
Just before we go back to Sharif, it looks like President Trump has directed his team to fire Erica McEntarfer. She's the Bureau of Labor Statistics commissioner. And she's a Biden appointee. It's a very long, I won't read the entire post, but highly critical of obviously the jobs numbers, which... Well, you know what? Political or not, I said this morning, when the revisions it's like the numbers come out and the revisions are so consistently so gigantic, and certain indicators, certain jobs numbers are far more reliable and need less revisions. I mean, at some point you're like, if they're that inaccurate. And the timing, a lot of times, of the more inaccurate numbers seems to look a little suspicious, and that's been something. And this is not new, so I don't want anybody to don't take it too political. But the timing, and this has been true for decades. You've been a trader a long time. Sometimes you look at these jobs numbers and the timing of the revisions. It's like, okay, well, these guys will juice it their way, and depending on the other point, they'll juice it the other way. It's like this game that consistently gets played, and it's really frustrating. So you have to pay attention to. You got to know which you want to pay attention to. Sometimes you just ignore them altogether and worry about the price action. Speaking of price action, it was good yesterday in Figma. Let's leave it at that.
It was, Neil. It tried to start off this way, too, in the pre-market as well, but it started selling off aggressively, down over 4%. Still trying to hold above that $100 area. The $85 area was the actual opening print yesterday around 2 o'clock when this thing started trading, but the IPO price, boys, $32. So we'll have to wait and see exactly how this trades in the next week.
Well, it's holding the morning low is what it's able to do. Yeah, Figma was not yesterday. Yesterday, you took the opening print, you held on for dear life, you made your day, month, week, all that kind of stuff, and whatever. Today, unless you were literally short at the open, there just wasn't that kind of an opportunity. The short the open was basically the equivalent of the long. Yeah, I did have a couple of long trades in there for some scalps, but the big miss was, and I said this is why this was a lesson of the day, just changing your execution strategy. Because when this broke, this little tiny trend, it's been a short ever since. I just missed the entry point that would have made sense to me. And that was because I was passive instead of aggressive, like sitting on the offer instead of hitting the bid. And while I was talking about it, and then went to try to hit the bid, by the time I went from talking to hitting the bid just dropped and it was like $1 spread. I didn't want to cross in that far. So at the end of the day, FIG is probably going to, for the next little while, have decreasing volume. That's what happens. So you will have less volume today than yesterday and less volume on Monday relative to today. And when that happens, the spread's going to open up. And that just means if you're executing on it, you can't get married to the way it traded the first day. You can't get married to the way other $100 stocks trade. You might just have to adjust. You can do lots of things, widen spreads, take less size, wider stops, like all these more aggressive in certain situations, all that kind of stuff you have to do. But I do want to remind everybody that this is distinctly different from what Circle did on day 2. Like Circle was strong on day 2. This is completely different. It's been trending down the entire time. So I'll change my approach come Monday, be a little bit more flexible in direction and a little bit more aggressive in trying to get the short when it does come in.
Yeah, so guys, remember, figs are not just fruits, but inverted flowers that grow inside a pod. So hopefully you guys took the inversion that happened right here off of the open. 140s, failure to follow through was absolutely beautiful off of the open. Nice little reversion of prior day's action that came in right into 110s and just holding some of those prior levels as well. So yeah, trader pods out there. Hopefully you guys are kind of, looking at some of these names. I'm sure you guys are. Just trying to make more fig puns right here. But 110 holding pretty well. Pretty well
that's
here
just, it's on a different level.
on the day. It's not a pun?
That's like, it's on a different level. Like
on a whole?
Both of our brains were just blowing up there. I'm like, I'm still not even sure what you said.
Did you know
that?
that?
Was some smart
Did
stuff.
you know that?
No, I didn't. First of all, A, I didn't know it. B, I'm sure I barely understood it. I just know there was some high level ish, my brother. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, all right.
Well done.
Level hold on the 110s. We saw that 100 reserve yesterday, and I'm looking for a bid to step up in a similar manner. We saw some reserves on 125s. That was sick. But again, reference that to prior day's high. That's a little confluence there, and it seems like it's only been selling off of those levels there. We marked these in the pre-market session. If you guys were here with us, a little bit of an anchored VWAP is the green from yesterday. We tried to hold multiple times, but finally gave it up. Now trading below that, so the average participant long from yesterday is sitting, or the average participant is sitting at that 118.83. We're trading a little bit below that right now. So maybe it's indicating to us that sellers are in charge. It's underneath day's VWAP as well. Day's VWAP coming in really nicely as a bit of resistance as well after the strong Kwadunk. So one to watch out for. Lots of opportunities on this one. I scalped this one like crazy off the open and then maybe some into VWAP, but definitely didn't have as much as I would have liked on that one. This 110 hold though right now, Neil, it looks like it might be flowering an opportunity.
That's, yeah.
I'm here all day. I'm here all day.
Yeah, you win. Before we go back to, I'm not even trying. I'm not going to top that, and I'm not even going to bother trying. But I want to try to answer a question before we go back to Sharif, or I'm going to ask a question of Jawa. First of all, Jawa's nice. Houdini. What is flipping restrictions on IPOs? I'm restricted in FIG. So here's the thing. I don't know what that means. So if there's another way you could explain it, or if anybody knows exactly what, I don't know what a flipping restriction is. If you're referring to being able to trade in either directions, we can short because we pay for locates here at Real Trading. I would understand that some brokers probably aren't offering shorts, or maybe they're not free. They're certainly not free here, but we can get locates to be able to short the stock. So if that's what you're referring to, then it could just be a restriction at your broker, or maybe you have to pay for them. You're certainly not going to be shorting an IPO for free, right away. I don't know that anybody's able to do that. We can just pay for it. We've never been able to short it for free right away, but we can pay for locates here at Real Trading. Let's go talk about Tesla, where you can short it if you wanted to this morning.
Yeah.
Down about 2%. Heel, a couple of tough headlines here. Their sales continue to worsen in Europe as they decline in Denmark, Sweden, and France for the 7th consecutive month. Also, Tesla has to pay about $329 million, sadly, for a deadly crash that involves autopilot, guys, reports AP News. So we'll have to see whether or not they appeal this or what the situation is. Tesla, couple of tough headlines today.
Oh,
Days.
okay.
Yeah,
You're talking.
okay.
This makes.
You're talking about the hold time.
You're talking about the lockup period.
The lockup period.
You can't sell for so many days when allocated shares pre-IPO. Yeah, that's standard. 180 standard, usually 180 days on an IPO that you have to hang on. And that's that's the whole. If you want the privilege of getting $33 on Figma or any good IPO, then part of that is the lockup. That's just how that's how it's done, right? So that you can't just get it and immediately dump, because why would they want to issue shares to people that are just going to immediately dump it into the open market and create sell pressure? They'd rather give it to people that want to invest in the company longer term. So I've literally never heard of the term that is a flipping restriction, but I guess flipping out of your position. So just one quickly on Tesla. I should have left it at one short. I went long twice and then lost, made it back short, and then shorted a second time, and end up red on Tesla for that reason. I could have just held on to it. It was that 300 break. I played it in both directions, and neither one of them was very good unless you took the long way back through. But Tesla, I still feel relatively is the wrong word. No, I still feel bearish on the chart. Of course, I'm going to try that 300 long as a day trader, but I still feel bearish on this. They missed across the board in earnings. You're punishing companies right now that beat across the board and even guided pretty well. So what are you going to do to Tesla in a situation when the market's topping out and their sales are declining? And right now, it's just a tough space to be in. So it feels like we're breaking a little bit of a wedge to the downside. It hasn't happened yet, but you're breaking a little bit of a wedge to the downside if we close under $300. And to me, that takes you down to the 270 to 280 area on Tesla. If we're under $300, that's my bias next week, because I've been waiting for it to break out of this wedge. So it looks like we are potentially.
All right, guys. VinFast's game in Indonesia, execution. They just locked in 3 more service partners: Nawalis, Warna-Warni Ban, and Wraparound, bringing 19 new workshops into their EV service network. Add in AutoClicks and BOS, that's a total of 181 certified service centers nationwide. This is how you scale confidence and capacity. With infrastructure like this, that 200,000 EV delivery goal isn't just ambitious, it's looking very real. Oh boy. So, what are we looking at? Tesla. Yeah, sorry. Tesla. Right, I got a little lost. I got lost in the sauce. I was just like, I was a little VinFast with that one. But Tesla coming in, another EV maker, I guess. But today a little bit of a chop, right? Off the open, beautiful sell coming in. More continuation from prior day here. Let's take off some of these indicators so we can see a little bit better of the price action. The price action a little bit better. You can see strong selling day. Not really too much relative volume yesterday, Neil. Half, 0.4, 0.5 relative volume, so half of what it normally does there on a 5. This is a 5-period relative volume. But coming into the pre-market, we started doing some aggressive volume. 2.75 started to dwindle down, but still pretty elevated coming into the open. We saw a little bit of a strong sell coming in off of the open, but since then, Neil, we've just stayed within the opening session range. You can see that we attempt to break out here. 309s came in and then coming right back down. So that 300 bounce, I know you were talking about this one right here. 300, we did come into 300, bit of a failure to follow through. Strongest volume candle that comes in through the break of that 300, so maybe a little capitulatory, who knows. But a reversion or a bit of a turn that did come off of that to come in and test the high of day, but still staying within that opening session range is Tesla today. So the question becomes, do we see leg consolidation? Leg, I have no idea, but let's take a quick look at the weekly and see how that one's been building up here on Tesla. We know, or I know that we've been in a bigger picture kind of consolidation here, and it seems like we're still within that range. This is what I'm talking about, this little consolidation in this area right here. We're still within this consolidation. Overall, bigger picture, don't forget, higher lows, higher highs. So definitely one to watch out for. This consolidation range is very important to me because we've been making consecutive higher lows into this area. If this trend does break, I think we're poised for a little bit lower, but who knows? Let's see what Tesla comes into. Today, pretty much a range day for Tesla. And oh boy, Hood is spiking right back up.
Get it, Hood, or not.
From one EV to another, guys, NIO reporting deliveries today, and they delivered 21,017 vehicles, also launching their new Envo L90 SUV. Deliveries are up, guys, 25.5% year to date, and guess what? They've now delivered over 800,000 vehicles year to date. Keep an eye on NIO, about 0.5% green on the day.
The thing about NIO, though, is I am so sick of these breakouts. I'm so tired of the fails. I'm so done with the bid not being there.
Oh, boy.
You know what I'm saying? And that's just, it's not like it was bad, but like, where's the follow through? Like, it was clean. It's $5 even. You had bad delivery numbers, and the reaction to that was to, gap down and then fill the gap and then break out the prior day high on a double top at 5. Everything about that is bullish, right? So what does it do? It goes 7 cents or 6 cents and fails. So that's what you got out of the $5 break. So, no bitterness at all. There was no parabolic move to even get you the quarters and then to add above 525. All of that being said, maybe we get it next week on NIO. So there's always a chance. It's a squeeze type stock, so you're always looking for that parabolic move. It just really felt like this double top break was going to at least take you to here. And maybe it's the market. Who knows? I have no idea. It's just disappointing on NIO. I really thought you'd get more than a 5-cent push through on this stock. That said, next week is always different. I do like the general action when they buy it up on bad news, because the deliveries were bad, and the reaction was not to fill in the gap as the market was pretty much tanking all morning. It was to go to the upside, so that's a good sign. It means that it's primed to try to squeeze, and certainly you've gotten some longs out of it. But to follow through 5, we'll have to wait for it next week. I'll probably take a shot at this a second time. Let's be real. I would take a 5 break today again. I think it's worth a shot. I'm just not sure on a Friday with light volume and a Chinese ADR where they go to sleep in the afternoon. I'm not sure it's going to get there, and even if it does, I'm not sure there's enough volume. But next week, fine. And it's nothing to do with fundamental. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I like NIO or I believe in the model or anything like that nonsense, or I believe in their system or their idea of swapping out batteries. That has nothing to do with that. This is a stock that bottomed out pretty cleanly, broke trend, held the 200-period moving average, and I'm just looking to break this out at some point above $5. That's all. It just didn't really give you much today. Like, it worked in that you probably didn't lose if you were smart about it, but yeah, disappointment in NIO, only 1% up, but yeah, in bad news, that's not terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of those features, Neil, is why some people think that NIO is 1 in a million, right? Yeah. So you got to see where it's really coming from here. So this is, I don't know if it's had any real splits or anything, but 66.99 was that all-time high, and you can see that every time it does attempt to take a little bit of a push, pretty much gets sold off pretty aggressively, and we're attempting to take another push here. This is a weekly chart, so taking a look at the weekly, we can see we've only been making lower highs and lower lows here. So the question becomes, can we finally break this prior high? Can we finally break this prior high? On the intraday, though, let's go down to a 3-minute. You can see that it was a nice little pop off of the open into the $5 area where you could have got right back in for the short. short, pretty much consolidating on top or in and around VWAP right here on the day. So within that opening range, but that $5 mark for stocks is pretty interesting, and it could not get past that with any sort of distinction, only about 6 pennies away from that as of right now. So that's the high a day. Pretty much sideways consolidation, but the good thing about this one is it does do a lot of volume. So if you do see opportunities in it, very scalable, very liquid as well in terms of a trading vehicle. Wasn't necessarily on my watch today. Prior day did have a pretty strong day, which had a strong reversion, 100% reversion off of the flush in the morning. We seemed like we tried to continue a little bit today, but couldn't get past that $5 mark. So I'll continue to watch this one. It's always up on the volume leaders, but trading within the opening session range as of right now. So looking similar to that of Tesla.
Last one here, NVIDIA, guys. Shares of semiconductors generally down today after Donald Trump reigniting the tariff issue, raising tariffs overnight on countries that haven't made a deal. Separately, though, NVIDIA has its own headline as it's stoking fears out with the Chinese government that there's a back door into some of these H20 chips that can be remotely shut down. We're actually summoning NVIDIA representatives to China to do some explaining, guys. So NVIDIA down on the day.
Oh, you got some explaining to do. NVIDIA, another pattern. Well, look, we all love NVIDIA. Their quarter was great. And the thing about it's not just their quarter, it's the CapEx spend that we got from all of the hyperscalers reaffirmed the growth and the belief that we're here to stay with AI. But there's a little bit of everything going on here. You have the Fed you have a little bit of the, I guess, more tariff turmoil, I suppose. You've got a deadline with China on the 12th. Whatever it all amounts to, it's a trend break. It's emerging a trend break on NVIDIA. However, the good news would be when it broke trend here, and this would be on like the 22nd, the response the next day was buy. So yeah, we're breaking trend again, but we can always we can come in on Monday, and if you have a day like this on Monday, then I think you kind of resume the upside. But until we see that, unfortunately, NVIDIA, you want it to be one way, it's the other way. That is an absolute classic reversal top here on NVIDIA. And what did it do at the high? It pulls right back into the prior low and dumps fill. So it doesn't look incredible. That's not bullish. 171 at least is holding, I'll give you that much. It doesn't really set up much for a short. As you can tell, I elected to short the thing that's always a short, which was Intel. I had it, stopped, had it, stopped, had it, stopped, and then waited for it to get to the pre-market high and then jumped in again. I actually have a trail on this at the 30 mark, so I might get out of this one in a couple of pennies. I held on to essentially like 5% of it, but let's see what happens here. I think I'd likely short 1940 again if we got there, but that's the one I'm watching for weakness. I don't think, like on a Friday when we've been bleeding all day long, my gut reaction would tell me if we're getting some kind of a relief rally to look for maybe a chip long. And if I do one, I think it'll be AMD based on its price action today. Like it flipped from an early short to the long that I missed to a couple of scalp longs where it really just didn't have the follow through either time. But now it seems like we're on the way up here above 171. So if I pick a long this afternoon in a chip name, it's actually going to be AMD, not NVIDIA.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the boys here. They're just watching this video. Absolutely crazy video. Is that your training video for your next upcoming match, dude? That's absolutely crazy. Some fighting videos there that Joe and Sharif are watching on the side. I was just watching. I was like, I don't know, man. You know. When you say mixed martial arts, you gotta look at all forms of fighting, right? So, anyways, going back to NVIDIA, and NVIDIA was a little bit of a push.
Sharing it with the viewers.
I mean, I don't know if I want to show fights like that on, it's a little bit. I
don't even know what you're talking.
Regardless, let's look at the fight that NVIDIA has been having on the day today, right? So a bit of a chop, trading within. I would say it attempted to push opening range high. We did get pretty much past it, but didn't get too far past prior days low, you can see how strong that was, strong flush into it, a nice bounce off of it, kind of pointing out that may or may not be a level. Coming in today, you can see that 175.90, 176 level gets an attempt once again, and supply just stepping right back in for that continuation. So, VWAP, consolidation, orbit, whatever you want to call it, sideways action could not get past the day's low, coming in at 170.89. I did not have any eyes on this name on the day today, but it seems like it had a beautiful reversion off the attempt to push the day's high right there. But yeah, I think, you know what? Looking back at it, Neil, I think that was pretty strong confluence there. Prior day's low, we were already kind of selling off of some of these highs, 184s. We're pulling back. We're also breaking this kind of trend that we've been having. Nice little multi-day bid. See you later, Sharif. Have a good weekend. So yeah, you can see that coming in into VWAP right there. So nothing really for me, but I think there might have been an opportunity here at 176s for the pullback down on NVIDIA. So yeah.
So, okay, first of all, at least send me the video so I can see what you guys are laughing at, and then I can determine if we're going to share it with everybody, because you guys are just laughing at something, and it's not fair to everybody. But I'm going to get to the super chat from Longness. Thank you, Longness, for the super chat. You've sent a lot of super chats, and we appreciate you. Guys, why is the thumbnail making a political statement? Sean is off. Sean is off today. He's off to Ottawa. They got a tournament.
What's the thumbnail looking like?
But here's the thing. It's a YouTube thumbnail. No, but it's a YouTube thumbnail. Like, sometimes they're like funny. I don't even know. To be honest, I haven't looked at it, so I don't even know what I didn't even see it. I kind of just jump in and it gets rolled over, and then I'm in the chat. So I don't even know what it is. But no one's ever trying to get.
Question is, why are you catching feelings off the thumbnail?
Too seriously around
right?
here.
Exactly.
We try to stick with. At the end of the day, YouTube is YouTube, and we always attempt, and it's not always easy to keep it about the market. Like, I understand. Here's the thing is, politics will get heated and lots of things will get heated. I mean, even just talking about, like, money, like, you get heated. Like, I know, like, I'm sure when I was sitting there somewhat last week bashing UNH, there's probably people that are like, stop talking bad about the stock. Or, like, every now and then, like, you might, like, this used to happen in the meme days.
Yeah.
Where we would, if we said a
short
bad,
GME? Yeah.
People, GME,
come
or
on.
said a bad word about a meme stock, we would get lit. But at the same time,
where those people now?
Like, if I'm trading, like, you just got to give your opinion, and sometimes that's just, people aren't going to like it. But anyways, UNH might have been the ugliest. First of all, UNH is not the greatest short ever. Stop, G-Man in the chat. I get it. UNH is probably a great short. But trust me when I tell you, there's a whole lot of stuff that's gone to zero. They're not going to go to zero. Stamp it. Okay, maybe don't stamp it, because if they go to zero, I'm going to look like a real idiot. But I don't see this is not going to zero. They're not going out of business. This is not Mullen or whatever the heck it is they're calling themselves these days. It begins with a B. There's still Mullen. This is not Silvergate. This is not Enron. Maybe it is Enron. A host of other things which are a heck of a lot worse. But again, and when I just for everyone's benefit here, when I was saying everything I said about UNH last week, remember, I bought the long at 280 the day after the flop. I sat in that long in my swing account while it did absolutely nothing for me. So, like, I was somebody that sat there and wasted some capital. Thankfully, had other swings that worked. I don't do a lot of swing trading, but Webull was obviously fantastic. But I was somebody that was sitting in that. So that's why I was ranting about it, because I was in the damn thing and it was terrible and it was useless. And I wish I'd flipped short, but I don't shorten my swing account. I've never.
Never?
Never? I told you this before.
Come on.
I have never swung short in my swing account. I invest long term. I take swing longs. I've just never done it. It's just, that's what it comes down to. It's not that I wouldn't buy puts. I've never done it. And ultimately, like, if I'm gonna hedge, I'll sell covered calls or I'll buy the VIX.
Okay, yeah.
I've never, you know what? Sometimes, and it's not a good thing, but I'm not afraid to admit it. Sometimes an old dog doesn't do new tricks, and maybe that's too much of it. And
But you short intraday.
Oh, intraday. Short.
It's the same thing.
Anything. It's not
the same thing.
Obi, it's not that I wouldn't do it. It's just that I haven't done it, and I just can't be bothered.
Fair, okay.
Because here's what
There's been some amazing swing shorts.
But you know what it boils down to?
Amazing swing shorts.
If you look at the market overall, I feel like there's so much good money to be made long.
Of course,
and if you have
that's there as well.
And if you have ways that work, it's like that's good enough for me.
Fair.
And I'm like, what do I need to be trying to figure out shorts for when there's a million long opportunities which consistently work? So.
Fair.
Anyways, we short. Like I have nothing against people that short. Like it's not like some kind of philosophical statement that I won't short overnight. I think there's a healthy balance to the markets, and I do believe that shorting is perfectly valid. I'm not one of those people. Don't get me wrong. But I just never have. Maybe that's weird. Maybe it's not.
No, I mean I like to go both ways, long and short. I think it's perfectly fine.
I'm glad you said that.
It's within range. You know what I mean? Like, Joe's like, is there a pause button? And I'm like, dude, come on. No. When it comes
so immature
with mother market, come on. You got to be able to dance, right? So it's just like you got to go long, you got to go short. It's the same thing. Sometimes I just say, flip the chart upside down. Does it still look, you know what I mean, as bad? Like, regardless, it's an opportunity. Opportunities are opportunities, right? And as traders, we just we should be looking for the best opportunities and be, not so biased in one direction or the other. That's just my take on it. I've taken longs, I've taken swing shorts. Like, sure, my swing shorts are almost never as I never hold them as long as the longs, for sure. Right? That's something that I do want to point out. Like, if I'm swing shorting something, it might be for a couple of weeks or a couple of months at most, right? At most. So,
I think it's
those borrow fees could add up.
No, that's obviously true. Like that's structurally true of shorting in the general sense. Like I would even venture to say you're more like even in day trades, you're more apt to be. I say this as the only stocks that I've held from open to close in the entire week has been Intel, and it's been a short. But I think you're more apt to hold an all-day long, even in a day trade, than you would an all-day short. I mean, sometimes it happens. What is this? Parsons requests a trade from the Cowboys.
Oh, boy.
Figure it out.
Come on.
Figure it out, Dallas.
Figure it out,
You've got
guys.
to be kidding me. He is literally, he's an absolute star. He's the heart and soul of your defense.
Right.
I'm not a Dallas Cowboys fan. I am the farthest thing from a Dallas Cowboys fan. But come on, you've got to be foolish if you let this guy go. That's just absolutely silly.
How could they even do that?
You're not even talking. You don't even know who that is.
Go Sports.
You don't even know who Micah Parsons is. But imagine he's their franchise player. He is the heart and soul of the defense. He is one of the best in the league. You're not talking about some dude who doesn't deserve to get paid. Like he's still at the top of his game. Like it's not one of those. He's a greedy guy. No, he just probably should be like one of the 2 or 3 highest paid at his position. And so Jerry Jones, who obviously is the Cowboys, they can afford it. Just go ahead and do it. Anyways, I ended up reloading this PayPal. We'll see if that ends up being a good decision. Hey, sometimes the third time's a charm. So the good news is it worked twice. The bad news is, does this entry look different from the others? Yes. Why? Because that's a rounded bottom. So that's a rounded bottom. This might be the shortest offensive of all time, meaning my stop is literally right there. I'm not letting it get past this wick. As a matter of fact, I was giving it an extra cent. I'm not even giving it the extra cent anymore. I'm not going to give this one a ton of room. I'm risking 10 pennies on this. It does feel like it's a rounded bottom. It was so much better the first time. And that's sort of the difference. Like it was the first time I liked it enough that I was adding on the way down. I am not feeling that way. So I'm going to get it one and done here. If it holds, great. If it doesn't, who cares? That's a long name, but your question was, Hood will go down below 100? It already did once. The trend would suggest that maybe it's pulling back to the upside. Because if you look at where the bid just came in, like essentially, like there's your reversal at the bottom, then you had your breakout. They bought it up at $100. It trended down, didn't get to VWAP. So this is an important retest of $100. Like I would venture to say, like if it doesn't close here, if it doesn't break it now on this move, then you're very likely not to test it till the end of we get into power like 3:30 or something like that, because that's a pretty decent downward trend break, and 100 is very obviously a pivot spot. If I liked it, I don't like it. I'm not going long. I just don't. I don't really love the long on this one. It was different when it was ripping faces off this morning to join the long in Robinhood. I don't know if I want to participate in this particular one. As I said, very, very tight stop there on PayPal. It's very different when you're trending down and you short a breakdown or the first time it retests the level. But when it does the rounded bottom, higher lows, there's no need to be in that short. And I just trailed out of Intel for obvious reasons. It came right back. I had my stop the entire time above 19.3. I was only holding on to 5% of it, so it is what it is. And all that stuff I said about all-day shorts or being less likely than all-day longs, I just mean that in a general sense. It's not that you never hold a short all day long. I just feel like you're more likely psychologically to hold longs if you get the right price the entirety of the day. My eyeballs are on Tesla here. I mean, it bounced off 301. You've got a rounded bottom coming in if it can break out 305. I'm inclined to take a shot at a 305 break.
Would you say that if you had a good price, regardless, you're inclined to hold the trade regardless of long or short? If you know you had a good price all day, right?
Yes.
Because like, I know there's a lot of players that just like, okay, if they know they have really good prices from off of the open and it's working for you, you might as well just take the mock or take the close.
Oh, I agree, but it's a for shorts. I think it's a psychological thing.
Because yes, for sure.
I think we're kind
People
of
are more inclined.
Traders more inclined to find places where a stock is going to bounce because we believe that you want to buy dips. Like it's just. Here's an example.
I just like to flip the chart.
So the example I was going to say is, if we have like the Qs trending down, this isn't that big of a trend down. This is something that used to always happen on the floor over the years. Like if you have a trend down like this going on, and maybe something that's even heavier, the number of traders on the floor that would be in shorts, but every time there's some kind of a long flip, we'll try to flip to catch the bottom. And it would happen times is like get into a great short, but then flip to try to catch the bottom. And then it's almost inevitable. So psychologically it's something that people are doing. It just happens all the time.
Right.
And you see it over and over and over again, really. And it's like I said, I think it's just psychological. I don't know what part of our brain always wants to try to catch the bid. I mean, here, like right now, we're trending down in the market. There's resistance at 305. What do I want to do? I want to break it out long, because I think we've held 300, and I'm longer term bearish on the chart of Tesla. Like I'm kind of bearish on it on the daily, but as a day trade, I'm looking for this to break 305, which clearly you could have just shorted this at VWAP. So there you are. I just proved my point.
Yeah, no, I think the structure of the chart is definitely key to that as well. I think when you see that setting up, like you said, if you see that double bottom, you see that held bid, you're like more inclined to be like, all right, I got to respect this bid, especially with markets at all-time highs. Right, I think that matters as well. Like when markets have been pushing up, oh boy, back to 100 and falling is hood back down to VWAP here. And the thing is, I'm not tempted to long this one. I'm very tempted to short this one, just relative to the action that we've had pushing in through that 100 and even higher to 104s and some change earlier on in the day. Very squeeze-like action. I was just like, all right, well, when are you going to give this bid up? And it seems like the bid has definitely been given up here. Even a little bit of an attempt at a bounce off of VWAP is pulling right back in. So I'm going to let this consolidate here. Let's look at a bigger picture right here. Zoom it out a little bit. You can see buyers were very much in charge off of the open, and I saw that. I was short here, and I think, like Neil is right. When I see that happen, I'm like, okay, that's a strong reason to buy, and I was short, so I just got out of the short because of that. But take it one step further, that's a strong reason to buy, right? Same thing. Very good reason to get long, and you can see how well that long worked out for a good majority of the day, all the way up until 12:30. That's when we actually started to turn. Now we're pulling back into VWAP. The question becomes now, do sellers really show us that they're in charge by taking price below VWAP and consolidating below that 100 mark? Again, going into a Friday, it's not, I don't think it's OPEX as it's the first Friday of the month, but you know that going into the end of the week, maybe some shake and bakes happening in and around some key levels here, and that 100 mark definitely a little interesting. What's up, Adara?
Keep an eye here on TMC. This is popping after the CEO of the company posted on X. We're seeing this a lot more with these small cap companies. The CEO posts something and the stock goes running. Basically, he's just teasing out some announcements that are going to happen next week. Apparently, they're going to have their PFS released here on Monday. That's, I guess, a technical report summary. They're also going to, I guess, revamp their initial assessment from 2021. They'll apparently be presenting strategic and project economic presentations. So, yeah, just teasing out some announcements for next week. That sends TMC to the upside. This is at least the third time in the last 2 weeks I've seen CEOs more or less pumping the stock on X. Back to you.
I had the chart. Thank you very much, Adara. What am I doing?
Thank you very much, Dara.
Thank you, Trump.
Yeah. Why am I saying it? No one wants to hear me say that. If you, I don't care, man. You got a president saying thank you to you personally. You're gonna milk that all you can, or you could just have Fabian on your side. But there's not one for me, so I can't do it. But you know what we can do, everybody? If you're a savvy Canadian investor or trader, what you can do is boost your exposure by tapping into the Nasdaq 100 and S&P 500 XXX daily leverage ETFs with Beta Pro featuring built-in FX hedging. They aim to amplify short-term market moves, minimizing the impact of currency swings. So whether you're feeling bullish or bearish, like today, these ETFs are built for active day traders ready to take on the market. Read the full risk disclosure in the prospectus at betapro.ca before investing. Scan the QR code you see out in front of you. And lo and behold, TMC CEO pumps it, and now it dumps.
Yep.
So I was looking to see if there was any follow-through.
It's doing that pop, lock, and drop it.
Yeah, there it is. Just not the ray gun style. Well, maybe it is the ray gun style because it's coming back down. Yeah, I was looking to see if there was maybe follow-through past the $6 level. But, you know, if you're trending down, I guess you could do worse and try to pump your own stock on X. And it's not a very good looking daily chart. 6 is a big level for the metals company here. Prior support, 50 period. So there was a lot that could have been working if it would hold that $6 area. Instead, looks like a sell at 6 would have been the better way to go. Maybe there's a second chance at this because if the volume keeps up, you retest the high and then try, well, now that I say that, of course, it's not going to bounce. I was kind of hoping to be like one little push to get back into the high and try to grab a short off of that. But yeah, it's already dumping too quickly, unfortunately. So I might have missed that opportunity. Oh, why did I trail out of Intel? See, you just hold it all day long, I guess. Seriously, you hold it all day long next time. Yeah. Forget about the fact that it pulled back. Just add to it anyways. And Hood, of course, does not hold on to 100, though I would say I wouldn't celebrate till it's pushing through VWAP. Like the even 100 level hasn't mattered much. Like when it broke out from 100, it broke 100 3 times before it finally went. Like it broke here, failed, broke here, failed. I know I was in it. Then it broke here and worked. So I'm inclined to think it broke 100 once downside, didn't work. Breaks 100 the second time, maybe it's working. I mean, I'll favor the short over-under at that price. I like when it's a key price. I like to play the over-under game. If the sellers eventually win, I join. The buyers eventually win, I go long. But I let the battle play out until it's clear to me which direction it's going to go. And I don't try to guess at it. I try to be a little bit more certain. I'm not certain just yet on Hood. But the shorts are certainly winning for now.
Yeah, I want to know what you guys are trading because I don't really see too much on my part. We can take a look at some of the stocks that I was looking at coming in off of the open to see how they're doing and what's up with them. Oh boy, Starbucks. Oh my God, what kind of plan did I have on that one? I got to pull up my morning watch list, I guess not really watch list, but morning trade plan right here. So I had quite a few names on my list today. FIG being number 1, Intel as well. Intel was coming into a pretty key level today, Neil, that 1950 area, and we cracked that right off of the open. I wasn't there for that. So in terms of earnings names, lots of earnings names that were very interesting, but earnings day ones, I had Amazon and Coin and Reddit on watch, and then Riot as well. Starbucks for day 3. I was looking for continuation on Starbucks. Oh boy, did it continue right off of the open. IP, let's see what IP is doing because I was looking for this one to get a little bit of a flush there as well. IP, that's the only one I didn't really look at. Oh boy, look at the paper cuts on this one as it continues. Look at this beautiful continuation. So I was like, there's clearly a seller here. Especially if you look on a 15-minute, it was very clear that someone was just pounding the bid on this one all day, Neil. Look at that. Boom, 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 boom. 15-minute chart, clean trend. Pretty much opening near in and around its highs. It attempts for a little bit of a push and then just flushes all day. And you get that continuation coming in below prior day's low and then cracking through some of those pre-market levels right off of the open. Nice little push there as well, but consolidating sideways. So it wasn't as aggressive of a move as yesterday, but the move yesterday definitely put it on my radar today. So that was IP. Hood was the last one as well. And Hood was definitely good off of the open and now as well as it attempts to push back into that VWAP. 99.50 is currently trading at. Let's see what Amazon's been up to. Let me turn off these indicators, but we kind of pointed out in the morning session this bottom anchored VWAP was the anchored VWAP from prior earnings. We did attempt to push off of the pre-market lows and then slowly bled back into this here and now holding that. That's coming in at 213.77s-ish area on the day today. Coinbase, I was like, all right, we were breaking down pretty aggressively, and I was looking at, did I write the specific level? I don't think I did. So I was just looking for continuation because this selling breaking a bit of a trend on a higher time frame coming in off of the open. Oh boy, those sellers come right into the stock here. I didn't even watch this one as closely as I should have, but a bit of a bid up into VWAP gives us a solid continuation to the downside here, all the way down into 315s. Now just trading sideways, bit of a dead cat bounce. Since then, we did get a nice quadunk of that low we were talking about earlier. I took the hood short on this flush on Coinbase. Reddit, let's see how our friend Reddit is doing. Okay, so we did kind of consolidate, chop off of the open, and then finally took a little bit of a push, but pulling back in to that opening range as of right now. Starbucks, this was the one. This was the one, man. I was just like, all right, well, we're breaking down. This is, I don't even have an anchored from earnings right here, so let's throw that one on real quick and see where we're sitting relative to that anchored right there. Boom. So right there. So extended off of it. Day one did try to push, doesn't really come in, starts extending off of it, and then even further of a flush. So it's literally showing us more of the same as we start to break down. This was the level I was looking at. Earnings reaction low on Starbucks. That breakdown, Neil, came in right off of the open, and it was pretty clean to the downside. Some would say that's a pretty grande move to the downside to 85 halves. Oh boy, nice beautiful continuation on that one. Might need a refill for some of those shares for the long term. I don't know yet.
That's a face pun right there.
Riot, we'll see what that one's up to here. Riot, oh boy, nice continuation on this one too, dude. Oh my God, I'm not taking any of these continuations. You know what? I just got to join the algo floor. That's what it is. There's no way I can take this all by myself. Coinbase, Amazon.
You've got to stay.
Oh boy.
Forget about the algos. We're kicking it old school, man. And no,
I take my own fills.
Well, you know what? There was a mini trend break on FIG.
Yes.
And remember what we talked about earlier? Hit the bid. So it's a mini trend break. It's kind of like this one on. I mean, on steroids would be a big one, so I have no idea what the other side of that for a pun would be. I'll leave that to other people. But yeah, it's a smaller version of a trend break because it's not as distinct and it's not as big as when it did earlier into the volume-weighted average price, but there's your slight trend from the low. And the reason, here's the thing, if I draw a trend line, it's got to be significant, like the end of the morning flush. But why I actually observed this trend line is simply because it double bottomed at 110. And if you go back to yesterday, which is its first day of trading, it broke out in the afternoon from a 110, it accelerated. So acceleration yesterday at 110, bottom 110, double, almost a triple bottom here. So when it breaks the trend off of a big support level, then I'm gonna like that trend break a little bit more. Like if it had done this off of some rando, then I don't know if I jump into it. Now that it's hit 116, I'm gonna tighten the stop a little bit, just never wanna give it all the way back. And I'm reminded of the fact that Figma is not moving like yesterday. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Like I think it's more of a scalp trade than anything else. Like pick your spots and get in, get out, try to scalp it for the win if you can. Robinhood is, well, Hood just won under $100. Well, it's winning under $100. It just tried to tick up and it lost at 99.9, but it's holding VWAP. This is the tricky part about this trade. Is like structurally, it looks like it's failing under 100, but on another level, all you're doing is holding the volume weighted average price. So I'm going right back to the, I'm not going to pick a winner on Hood here. Forget about it. It's not at the right spot. I think it's easier to look for it long through 100 than anything else. Yeah. To try to be short all the way down here. Like I'd almost rather be shorting it under 99 than here, even though that's not a better price. Yeah, if that makes sense. Yeah, hopefully. It makes sense to me anyways.
Yeah, no, guys, don't forget, type out in the chat what stocks you guys want us to look at here. I got the leaderboard sitting right here. So $, I'm going to type it in as well. Let's see. I'm not going to go with Hood because that's coming in at number one. If I guess. Oh, there you go. So, fresh start. Let's go with a fresh start right here. Thank you very much, Andre, for that. So fresh start. Let's see. First is EQ with 2 of them. All right, you guys are going to see this grow right now. So let's throw them in there. I'm going to go with. Let's start with one of my favorite ones, Amazon, and then am I allowed to do multiple entries as well? And then let's take a bite out of this fruit right here. FIG, of course. Let's see some of that. Apple's coming in. So let's see. I'm gonna take a guess. Oh boy, it's power hour. I'm gonna take a guess, Neil, and be like, okay, FIG is probably gonna be at the top of the list, as it is one of the, I guess, very much in play stocks on the day. So we'll see this one kind of matriculate, if that's the right word here, as you guys come in with all of these tickers in the chat. There you go, V-Thug saying Obi. I don't know if there's a stock called Obi. Let me see. I don't think that does exist. Oh, no way. It does. On the LSE.
There's an Obi stock?
There's an Obi on the LSE. Can I get London entitlements, please?
I think I have London.
Yeah, it's called Ondine Biomedical. Nice. All right, so maybe we're going to trade that one. But yeah, here we go. Thanks, guys, for coming in. Keep them coming in, and we'll count those votes. And then in a few minutes, we'll take a quick look at what you guys voted for. So thank you for doing that. Shout out to the leaderboard here, the stock leaderboard, as it comes in. So let's see, how many submissions have we got in total? Not a lot. You guys got to keep on going. When I refreshed it, there was almost 50, 60 mentions for FIG. So keep on going. What stocks do you want us to take a look at? And then we'll take a look at them as they rank on the leaderboard. So far it's FIG and Tesla. Now, of course, we're going to be talking about FIG. I already have FIG on my screen. Still chopping up sideways right here. Still holding that 110 area pretty well. Day lows coming in at 110.12. So solid stuff there. We have just entered power hour on the day. So the question becomes, does FIG catch that bid that we're looking for coming in off of the open? What do you mean?
How about it doesn't catch a bid?
Are you short? Oh, damn. Okay, all right, sorry, no.
I'm
talking about bigger picture, long term. There are people who are long this name and are in and around 110. It seems like it's being defended, dude.
No, 110 is too big of a level not to cover in front of it. Like this is like 110. It absolutely exploded from the 110 level. That's why I moved my stop to break even, because it already held at 116 or close to 115, just under 116. So if it goes meme crazy, I don't want to give up and turn like a winning trade into a losing trade, but I'm bidding out for sure in front of 110. Until that level breaks, everything stops there. When you have a big reversal like that, buyers like it, buyers like it, buyers like it, buyers like it. I'm not the kind of person that hopes that you have it the one time it's going to go. I don't fall into that category at all. But I did want to go over here and just, whoops, why is my ES? See, I try to keep the title in the middle so you can see it's the ES. But let's maybe look at the Nasdaq instead. I like looking at the Nasdaq a little bit more. What's interesting, though, in terms of looking at the bottoms, is we have now wicked, let's keep it zoomed out, we have now wicked big support on the Nasdaq multiple times. Like, we're having a failure to follow through at support coming from the beginning of the month. Like, we're at the end of the month, The support from the beginning of the month was right down here at 22.8 on the NQ, and we bounced multiple times. So even in that sense, I think you're scalping shorts because we're having trouble punching through the monthly support levels here. The prior month support, I mean, it's August now, but I mean, I guess the prior month before, which I still think are relevant. It doesn't really, the futures and the levels don't really give a you-know-what. The fact that we're in a new month, like those July lows or July support levels, I think are in play, at least for now.
Yeah, I think, higher time frames, the levels that I think really matter, and correct me if I'm wrong, Neil, are the ones that keep on testing over and over again, and the chart and the market kind of shows you that, okay, this is a level, right? Those ones might be a little...
That 110.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like the ones I like even better, are the ones that have tested as resistance and then as support, and then it shows you that there's something there. And sure, there are times where we do cleanly break through them, but over time, it's like, okay, this is a level where support and resistance both act on this level. So if we're coming into it from the lows, if we're coming into it from the highs, you can look for potential, opportunities in and around those areas, or use them as factors of confluence for a bigger picture, right? So I definitely believe in that there. But yeah, opening of the open right there. Yeah, look at that. Oh boy, we're almost at 530 subscribers, guys.
530,000.
530,000, and we only need 25 more.
Subscribers.
25 subscribers. Come on, guys.
Be that lucky. 530,000.
Be a part of the journey.
Subscriber.
Boom.
And how do you do that? Well, I'll tell you how you do it.
Boom, there we go. Here we go.
You hit the subscribe, you hit the like, and then good things will happen, and good karma and all that. And there's no way of knowing who it is. So basically, we're just going to give love to everybody once we get to the 530,000. Because I don't know who hit the button that makes it happen. But anybody that's in the chat, anybody that's watching, we have a fantastic community here. And at the end of the day, growing it only makes it better. Everything gets we're literally renovating the studio to make it bigger, to have more hosts on it all the time, so we can try to give you better coverage of the markets and everybody's opinions. And it's always been about making this better for our trading community, because I'll tell you, and anybody will tell you, trading's hard enough when you got to do it alone, and nobody in our trading community has to trade alone. That's the whole goal, unless the market's closed. And in case you're on your own, because we're not here. But when the market's open, we're here. And we'll figure it out when they go 24. When we go 23.5 or how the markets are going to go, Trader TV is going to figure it out. That's how we roll. So we're 15 away. Get us there, everybody. We appreciate you guys.
We're not that far away from there. What the NYSE said, they're going 24 hours in 2026.
It's happening next year.
Yeah, next year.
A lot of changes. Look, not only that, we've talked about it before.
Ready.
They're going to do the 20. It's not 24 hours. It'll be 23.5. There's like an hour for settling, whatever.
Oh, man.
And then there's going to be the PDT rule is going to get loosened a little bit from 25. They're talking to 2,000. So essentially, it's going to allow
Small caps
everybody.
are going to be wild.
Small caps are going to go nuts. There's going to be far more. I mean, it's great for Robinhood. This is great for Webull, obviously. So, look, it's a lot of great things are happening, and we're just always trying to adapt with it, because you have to. It's like adapt or die in the markets.
Yeah.
Gurev.
How we have to be as traders.
Oh my goodness, this feels like a UNH question. At some point, Lulu will become an attractive price. It's convincingly lost $200 with absolutely no defense. I will cop to the fact that I'm actually looking for a spot in Lululemon to take a shot. But there's a big difference. Look at UPS's 3-month chart, by the way.
Hey yo, let's go. 530.
Oh,
thank you very much.
That's the wrong bull.
Let's go bang. Let's go with.
It's the wrong bull.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
I got it. Boom. There you go. There's the HD bull.
Thank you guys so much. Let's power it up. We appreciate 530,000. Every milestone matters, but shout out to every single one of you. We absolutely appreciate it, and we love all of our viewers. I can't say enough. The thing about this show, it's really humbling to be able to see, like, not just the regular viewers who are conversing with each other. Like, we'll be doing our thing and talking and answering questions, and then I'll look up in the chat and, like, someone's asked a question that we've missed, and I'll see, like, 4 or 5 viewers, some regular, some I don't recognize, answering the question, helping out that trader. I'm like, oh, I don't even have to say anything. because our community's already handled it. Yes. And then even better is like when I don't know something, or if one of us doesn't know something, and then you guys are out there answering the question for everybody else. That's what the community is all about. There's one thing we always have to do, and that's get our butts over to Adara when we're called.
There isn't news right now anyways, guys, but I'm always here for you when there is. And in the meantime, it's time to take a look ahead at next week. It is crazy. This is the weekly calendar. I mean, I would say for sure Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday after the bell, massive earnings, AMD, Supermicro. We have Snapchat, Rivian, Lucid, Open Door. We've got Uber, Oscar Health, Lyft, Celsius, Eli Lilly. We have Block. We've got SoundHound. Their earnings go on from major companies to small cap and retail favorites. So check this out on X at TTV Research so you can know what day your favorite stocks are reporting and you could stay intact. Economic data-wise, it's a little bit smaller. We have a couple bond auctions, and we also have some jobless claims numbers. So same old, but these earnings are certainly going to be exciting. So we send you back to the guys. Power hours here.
Oh, man.
That is a packed calendar.
No, but like Berkshire has been...
Oh, yeah, Berkshire was selling off the last I checked.
Oh, it's been trending. But look, let's be real. Like ever since we knew.
Yeah, boom.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, that's UPS.
No, that's
Never
UPS.
mind. I'm like.
No, Berkshire, ever since we got the timeline for Warren Buffett stepping down, it's not egregious, but it's been downtrending into an up market. And the structure of it's been pretty clean. Like every time it's caught a bid, like look where it fails. It catches a bid and fails exactly at the same prior level and the 50-period moving average, like 487, 488, almost on a dime, and then right back to the low. So it feels like this is incredibly weak. There's going to be a moment for this as well. But Starbucks is moving around a little bit. Let's go to Dara. Whoa, Starbucks sucks, man.
I just want to chime in what you were saying about the stock of Berkshire Hathaway since they announced that Greg Abel's going to take over as CEO effective January 2026. I actually made an infographic for this. It's down about 7%. This is as of the close on Tuesday from when that announcement was made. So there's already been a couple different high-profile CEO switch-ups announced. Berkshire Hathaway actually doing the least bad of these companies, so that's pretty significant. But either way, BRK.B certainly not to the upside since that was announced. We know Warren Buffett has been a staple of the company. Let's see how they fare under their new leader once that transition occurs. Back to you.
Shout out to Adara. Thank you so much. I didn't hit that. I was on the wrong page for the key. So sometimes I'll hit it, sometimes I won't.
Thank you.
Right before we went to Adara, there's a strong bounce happening, at least in Starbucks. So it's above VWAP, but it was the 15-minute that really, sort of the daily chart that really caught my attention. I know you were looking at this for a continuation short. When we say things like the stock is a short till it's not, it's the way it rejects. Like what you find here is you find clearly going into earnings some sellers. Like look at the respect of the 200 period and look how it's unable to, like it gets above and immediately fails, it gets above and immediately fails, and then you get a hua-dunk on earnings, you lose the 50 period. Like to me, when I look at this, it's like, well, you're favoring the short until there's a reason for you not to. And the reason could be $80 where it's been a good buy, or, oh, I don't have another one. I mean, you guys can come up with your own. Maybe you got a Fibonacci or some other thing that you use.
Fibonacci's.
But to me, Fibonacci's? Yeah, Fibonacci's, or you got some other indicator. But to me, it's like, until it shows me something or $80. You favor the short trade. Unfortunately, FIG is doing a dance, which is telling me there's a seller at 118, there's a buyer at 116, and that's about it. So I might just take it out at the 116 and then hunt for the next trade. Adara?
There was a bit of a catalyst on Starbucks. Unclear if this is why they pushed higher, but Bloomberg reporting that the company is planning to kiosks in their airport locations to cut long lines there. That came up probably 15-ish minutes ago. I'm just seeing it recirculated now, so I'm not sure if that's the reason it's moving this way, but either way, bit of a catalyst here for SBUX as it does push higher to end the week.
There was someone in the chat that was giving a hack for the airport.
For Starbucks?
Because the lineups at the airport. Yeah,
oh, it's wild. Yeah.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
The Starbucks lineups at the airport are always the longest.
It's ridiculous.
By far, always the longest.
Absolutely ridiculous.
That's why I'm just like, I really don't care. Let me just get a coffee.
And then my wife loves Starbucks. She'll be like, well, I'm going to get it in anyways. Do you want anything? And I'm like, no, I'm good. It's just like, I'd feel bad. Like, you have to wait in line. Like, I have to really want something. I'm like, no, I'm good because I'll be able to go up, get myself something, and I'll be back before.
Before she even gets to the front of the line, yeah.
So I'm like, I'm not going to even let you. I'm like, you want me to get you something when I go somewhere else and get some food? But you do you. It's ridiculous, the damn lineup. But it's people like their Starbucks. I've never been a huge Starbucks person.
No, I think it's better to do the app now, like just to go pick up, because you can skip the line and everything.
What they were saying is, I don't
know if can you do that with the airport ones?
Oh, they were saying if you get like a gift card that always has like money on it or something like that.
You can skip the line?
I don't know how.
No,
that's what somebody was telling me. I'm like, is that really true? What are the ways?
Was it like a fast pass or something?
What ways what ways can you skip the line at a Starbucks at the airport? If there is a hack, let us know. If there isn't one, then let me know as well. But there's something else. I can't even get the bid anymore. All right. What we were talking about? Cross the spread. Now I'm crossing the spread in the middle. I made the midpoint. Give me the midpoint.
Death God is saying they make their own coffee at the airport?
Why wouldn't they?
I mean, sure, yeah. If you have like the apparatus to make your own coffee at the airport, sure, go for it.
You make your.
I don't know.
Hold on a second.
That's what they're saying.
You make your own coffee.
We're talking about specifically in the airport environment, like that's.
No, someone said they make their own.
No, not at the airport. They just said I make my own coffee. So I was like, we're talking about airports.
Well, yeah, I make my own coffee too.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, if you're at the airport, is there a way that you don't have to be in the line? There's no I don't know if there's any way that you can skip the line. But anyways, it's not important. It doesn't really matter that much. But the market not really doing a heck of a lot just yet. I'm
trying to skip the line and get into some IPO allocations, dude.
Well, that's another story.
We need to get on that. That's what we need to get on, right?
Okay, hold on a second.
We know some people.
OB.
Yeah.
Or
we know some people.
Apparently, all we have to do is take the opening print, which is perfectly fine by me.
No, that's fine. That's more than fine. Yeah.
But if you take the 33, you can't sell. Here's the thing. You're on a day trading floor. Where is my Figma? I just wanted to show IBIT because Bitcoin's breaking down. No, but
that was a nice break.
You're on a day trading. Yeah, but look at this. Some buyer. I told you someone's buying at 116. I don't know who they are, but they're winning. So we got out. But Figma, you get the opening print.
Yeah, you're chilling.
On a day trade, on a prop floor where you're able to sort of leverage, I mean, I'll be perfectly happy doing that as opposed to, I get it, in an extreme sense, getting 33, having to hold even 30 days or 60 days doesn't seem like that bad of a deal given how far it went. But in a general sense, I'm not complaining whatsoever if you're able to get trades like this. And I don't think this is going to last. Circle did this, where it halted instantly to the upside and kept going, and Figma did this. Yeah. They're not going to keep getting it this wrong. Eventually, we're not going to get these types of wins. So you better believe when hopefully Discord comes out soon and we get a shot at that bad boy. Because what'll happen is one time it's going to not work.
Yeah.
And if you don't trade it with a stop, to me, I had a stop right underneath. My stop was literally $84.99. I got long at 85. My stop was $84.99. And if I got bottom wicked and then it went, I don't care. Because the way I see it, if you can get one of those monster wins, like 10, 15, 20 bucks while risking less than $1.
Yeah, that's huge.
You only need a couple of those. And so what if you get rinsed out for a small loss when it goes? You only need one to wipe out 100 of those. Not 100, but lots of them. FIG under 100 next week. Chuck Vol Trade says it would not surprise me. I think we're in a different environment than when CoreWeave, because here's CoreWeave,
came out, yeah.
And here's Circle.
The market's been selling off.
We're in a very different environment than when these guys came out and went parabolic. The market was trending up. Now we're kind of at the highs and showing signs of pulling back. So I'd be inclined to believe you in that Figma is going to. Under $100, I can see it. For now, there's still buyers in there every time you try to take the short. So you get like a buck, you get a couple of bucks here. You're not getting too much more than that. Until we break 110, there's some buy support down here. And I would also venture there's probably some shorts from the pre-market in the open that are still covering and holding for a 110 break. And as we get closer to the end of the day, and we're not breaking 110, some of the early all-day shorts have been probably weighing on the stock, and the VWAP shorts in here as well. They're taking opportunities to get out every single time it looks like a bit of a cover.
Yeah, I think it's definitely one to watch out for because you do have to consider what kind of market environment you're in. That's a very, very strong point that you bring up, Neil. And Sharif and I were talking about this yesterday as well when we were talking about trading fundamentals versus technicals. I'm like, yeah, in a different market environment, that's where I might consider fundamentals. Like if we're in a market environment where we're cutting rates versus raising rates, it's a different kind of market environment, right? And it's like you might want to you're still going to maybe trade off technicals, but you might use that as a strong factor of confluence as well in your trading. So market environment, I think definitely matters a lot. What have the moves been looking like? What have we been doing? And do we want to look for more of the same? Has there been like a regime change in that sort of sense at all? Right, so we've seen a bit of a regime change from was it Liberation Day, that that kind of came in, but yeah, and that bid came in pretty strong off of there, and we're pretty much squeezing on the higher time frame. I always point out the 3-month and the 6-month and the 12-month charts on the futures on the spider, and I say just take a look at this. If you were to take a look at that, and I didn't tell you that this was it was a monthly chart or a weekly chart, and I just showed you a chart, and I was like, what does this look like, right? And everything looks really, really strong.
We said what it looked like.
What it looked like.
That's Red Man. You know Red Man? Yeah, it's fine. I'm old. It's fine. I'm old. I know Red Man, and everyone. Some people in the chat know Red Man. Please tell me that there's a few Red Man fans in our chat. But we got a super chat from TD Baker. I don't know if you like Red Man, but I promise you, he's way better than. Whatever. In my opinion, he's better than a lot of the rappers now. But then I'm an old guy. TD Baker, thanks for another awesome week, guys. 70K month from the trader, guys. Have an absolutely amazing weekend. You have an amazing weekend. Do it up, TD Baker. We appreciate you and congratulations to you. We did have another super chat, and the size of the super chat doesn't matter. We're going to get them all anyways. Thoughts on Lulu, says Boba Plays, 852. It's probably just Bob Boba Plays. I don't know. All the names in the chat got jacked up. Thanks, YouTube. But obviously, look, I always said before, I'm actually looking for a spot to try to pick on Lululemon and pick it up. On a 3-month chart, this is how far you have to go back to find some levels. Right? Like, it's a little bit crazy. I'm going to just drop it to a monthly just to give you an idea. Like, you're at, like, what the area I'm looking for is actually on the monthly chart of Lulu because I still think you're bearish, right? Like, you closed the month breaking down another leg. So that's not bullish. So I'm waiting until we get down and test into the 170s because the 200 period moving average is a spot I might look for a bounce. So if I see something like this, a little bottoming tail candle in front of this level, ideally this month, maybe next month, that will give me an opportunity for a long. I actually had a swing long in this a couple of years ago. Anyways, when it was holding this 50 period on the monthly, I took a swing on it a couple of years ago. So I'm looking for another spot on Lululemon, but that's a purely technical thing. Like I have zero interest in trying to buy it and hold it forever. I would just look at it for more of a trade for sure. That EQ stock, by the way, halted down, opened back up, and is losing $1. So for anyone in this one, there's a bit of a battle waging at $1. Ooh, it's trying to hold $1 as we speak. So EQ, if you're in it, hold in the bid, barely at the $1 level. John T, ice, baby, say it ain't so. Yeah, Red Man and Vanilla Ice, somewhere where my foot is on the ground.
Oh boy.
It's not close. You know Vanilla Ice.
I've heard of the name, of course. Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. Everyone's heard of him, but no, Red Man's on a different
level. Red Man. Why is it, you know what? Maybe I do. Here's the thing. I'm so horrible with names. I have more of like a visual memory, I would say, rather than.
I think you know Red Man.
I don't know. I probably know Red Man. It sounds familiar, but I'm just like, can I think of something like right off the bat? Probably. Nothing's coming to mind right now. But yeah, no. Now I gotta look that up. But yeah, nice little bounce hit there that happened on Hood. We were talking about this 99 level hold. The initial low on this first test was 99.01. The second test comes in, prints a 99 holds, so 1 penny below that prior low, and then fails to follow through, zoop, all the way back up to 100, and a nice little confluence with that VWAP bounce as well. So just continuing to watch this one, not really participating. I'm going to wait and see what it does here. Not really seeing anything too crazy, so let's go back to, where'd it go? Was it this one or this one? And that's funny, I have two open now.
I don't know which was that?
Sorry?
No, what was on the screen just now?
What was on the screen?
You didn't.
What did I do? I didn't do anything.
Oh, it was your desktop. That looks nice, man. Sorry, it was. The background of your desktop.
Oh, the background. I don't know. Like this is. I don't know. It's some sort of.
Where is that?
Canyon. I have no idea.
How did you show that screen? I don't even know how. That's crazy. Anyways, you guys saw that at the canyon. I'm like, that's gorgeous. I'm like, why are we showing that? That's pretty cool.
I don't think this is the one. I gotta find the one we were just doing. Here we go. Right here.
Tesla's trying to creep.
Yeah, Tesla's creeping on this leaderboard here. Pretty much tied, 13 by 13, Figma and Tesla as well. Hood coming in at third place. NVTS, okay, EQ. I haven't looked at NVTS today. SoFi, oh boy, we know they had earnings a few days ago. Amazon had earnings as well today. Interesting. Funny enough, I noticed that I'm almost always on the show around Amazon earnings, and that's happened back to back. A little bit of a confluence there. Let's see.
I think it's been every day since at least this quarter last year. So it's been at least 5 quarters that I can remember off the top of my head. I know every quarter since then, 100% with certainty, and you guys know what I'm like with my memory. I can say from like Q2 2024 all the way to Q2 2025, I know for a fact you were at the desk. I cannot speak for before that.
But you know why that makes perfect sense?
Why is that?
Because the majority of the a lot of the days Sean takes off for Friday.
Yeah.
So it's just like
in and around the
big
season,
IPOs tend to be on Thursday.
Yes.
That's why I remember day 2 Circle, you were on the desk with me.
Right.
Day 2 Figma, you're on the desk with me.
Yes.
Because the big IPOs tend to come out on a Thursday. So there's like a higher probability that that's a sneaky one. Like you make the money on the IPO and then you're off on Friday. No, you take Fridays off. Sean takes Fridays off in the summer most of the time. He's coaching his daughter and he's coaching the High Park team. So that's usually what it's about. But it is an interesting coincidence. And as always, thank you very much, Adara, and thank you, Danny, in the chat for being a Redman fan. That makes me feel a little.
You know, I'm gonna go listen to some Redman right now. Curious. I feel like I have an inkling of a feeling that just like. I know his music.
Of course you do. No, there's I know you know some hip hop, so there's a 100% chance that 99% chance that you do know a little bit of Red.
What's his most famous song?
I'm not gonna.
Okay, I'll just search it up.
Because
most view, we'll go by view count.
That's an interesting. Okay, first of all, going by view count is not a very good way to. So his most famous song, you were just on it. Because I think this is what you will know. Yeah, Rock Wilder is probably, that's what you'll know. Like Red and Meth, you'll probably know that more than anything else.
This one right here.
Because some of his old stuff by himself, you're not gonna know. But like him and Meth Man, the Rock Wilder, that you'll know. Okay. I would think. Like we'll see. Like to me, that's
when did this come out? 15 years ago, 1999. The music video came out.
I'm just saying, one of my favorite ones is a little something like that.
Oh boy.
Y'all know.
All right.
If you know Redman, you know what song I'm talking about. But yeah. No, he did a movie with Method Man called How High.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's way too old for you. You wouldn't have any clue about that. I saw, let's put it this way, I saw it in the theaters, and I can't even remember what year I saw it. That's how old it is. But we were talking about Tesla creeping, and the second it looked like it was creeping higher, complete fail. This is complete Friday afternoon trade. There's your bottoming tail candle. There's your lack of follow through. Absolutely nothing happening. Like I check back over, I'm like, is FIG gonna finally do something? Spoiler alert. No. It goes maybe back in, can't break out. Like it's just the buyer's there, the seller's here. You're just not really getting any follow through on those moves. And Chris, no, I have never traded FIG on the good. Nor would I ever trade impaired.
What does that mean? Oh.
Trade FIG on the good. To each your own. Like I'm not the judge. I don't judge.
You have to remember that you're playing in one of the most competitive arenas, right? You want to ask yourself, are you really going to put yourself at an advantage or a disadvantage not being at 100%, right? And I know some people like to argue that, that's how they get to their 100%.
That's fine. Dude, you wouldn't know this, dude. There's a guy in the Percy Harvin in the NFL.
Yeah.
The guy was a Pro Bowler. He played every single game on. He smoked weed before every single game.
Yeah.
Now it's a bit different. He suffered from like chronic migraines, so like it was the
you suffer
only way
from chronic pains, then that's.
Then it was like the only way that he's the only
otherwise
way he could do it.
That shit will
which is wild,
bug you.
it was still
right?
illegal.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's go over to the desk with Adair. We're gonna have the early look imbalances in a couple of minutes here.
Yeah, I just want to remind you guys, we have a massive earnings report after the bell on Monday. That is going to be Palantir. If you like these kind of retail favorites or meme type stocks, hims and hers will do that for you as well after the bell on Monday. So check this out on X at TTV Research in addition to my weekly calendars, which come out every Friday around 3 p.m. I have daily calendars. Usually they come out every day around 3 p.m. When it's Friday, I release these at 3:30 p.m. Another thing that you can look forward to on days where we have massive earnings. So a lot of the days this week and likely a lot of the days next week, I'll also put out a expected moves calendar that shows you the expected release time and expected or implied move for a host of big ticket earnings names. So those come out usually around 3:30 p.m. on days with massive earnings. Definitely stay tuned with us. Hit the subscribe, hit the like button. And if you like this type of content, join me on X at TTV Research. Expect lots of infographics next week, including about Palantir. Back to you.
Palantir earnings.
Oh, boy.
Here's the thing. After Palantir's earnings, shocker alert, everybody, it's still going to be really overpriced on a PE basis. That is not going to change. What we're hoping also doesn't change, well, it depends on, unless you're a bear. What you're hoping doesn't change is the channel that Palantir has been chilling at. So if it goes down, let's not go any further than 145 so we can continue with what has been an absolutely gorgeous upward trend. I mean, it's pretty. It's real pretty. But it's going to suck if we lose 145 and the 50-period moving average. But I think we always talk about like reasonable pullbacks and upward trends. I love nothing more than a clean channel to the upside. And it's not the only one. Alphabet has, come on. It's Friday afternoon charts, man. The chart is in weekend mode as well. There you go. Alphabet's got an upper channel. It's not as strong as Palantir's, but it's got a channel it's respecting. So I feel all good about Alphabet. It gets down here into 180, 177. It's respected it. But when I observe something like this, I have no issues. You get bearish and you wait to get bullish in a general sense. So you come in with maybe a little bit of a sell bias on Monday on Alphabet, even though you might like the stock. You come with a bit of a sell bias and try to look for short opportunities. You wouldn't have been able to do much with it today, but certainly you try. And if you're wondering, someone just put in the chat, what was that wick? Like I saw a bit of a spike in the fuge, but nothing too crazy. Let's go to Adara. Yeah, it wasn't.
I cannot say confidently that this is what it is, but I think it's worth noting regardless. We're just seeing that apparently Fed's Ariana Kugler, who is Adriana Kugler, she's not only a member of the board, she's actually a governor. So she's not a local Fed president, she is a governor. She has apparently announced her resignation. She said that apparently she submitted it to Trump. So Adriana Kugler resigning from the Fed, it's actually very soon, as of next Friday. Now, this could be huge for the market because, one of the biggest things here is whether or not the Fed will cut rates. We actually had a shocker, 2 dissenting opinions for the first time in decades. Now we actually have a Fed member stepping down. So this kind of turmoil in the Fed could be pretty interesting. Just for context, here is a TTV research infographic I posted a while ago now in the makeup of the Fed. This individual, Adriana Kugler, she's not going to be on here once we get that new Fed member. The last time we had a new Fed member was Beth Hammock. She replaced Mester going back to last August. So it's been about a year. New Fed member. I don't have any details as to who the new member is going to be, but Fed's Kugler out. Back to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Derek, because that actually would explain that. It was
Thank you very
look at the
much,
volume
Derek.
spike here on the Qs. If we can come to my chart very quickly.
Yeah, a little bit of a push.
It was a big down candle on huge volume and being bought right back up. I guess the whole algos read it as, hey, it's bad. Someone's leaving, that's more turmoil. But then the other side of the coin is maybe somebody comes in, a replacement that is more likely to be on the side of, that someone could be on the side of lowering rates. And yeah, we were talking about it earlier. The only way that you would ever miss a Fed vote, and I know someone in the chat just pointed out, it was something we were saying, you would only miss a Fed vote if there's something really going on. So, if you're resigning, there's probably some kind of really, really good reason, because I can't imagine that any voting member would miss a vote at a time like this unless it was absolutely serious. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we're all human beings. I would just hope that nothing is too serious as to why she missed the vote and why she is resigning. But at the same time, if you get somebody that comes in, which we don't know yet, that is a little bit more likely to be on the side of lowering rates, obviously that could be a good thing for the bulls out there. That's why a bit of a mixed reaction. Like the algos first lose the bid, and then it gets bought right back up, I think, when they start thinking about the consequences.
Yeah, I'm just kind of observing the reaction on the market here. Didn't really sure. Sorry, I was just kind of just observing the action on the market here, the reaction there, and yeah, we caught a little bit of a bid coming into that 22,900 on the Nasdaq, and a little bit of a push on the ES as well, but nothing too crazy there. We're just still consolidating for the past few, like you can see the past two 15-minute candles, we're still within that range. We attempted to break a little bit lower there, didn't really come in, but since the open, Neil, we've only been making lower highs and lower lows here on the 15-minute chart. So I'm continuing to watch that. Hood, I'm watching here as well, a little bit of a push, but we're making lower highs into VWAP, and we've been making lower lows. Again, looking at some of this consolidation from earlier, that's coming in at 98. So let's actually pull up another chart, because I do want to see what that looks like specifically right here. Let's see here on Hood. So you can see this consolidation. This was that consolidation underneath that 100, and I messaged my pod. I was like, oh boy, this push into 100 is looking a real spicy on Hood. I'm definitely going to be watching that one and participated a little bit both ways, short and long on this one. Didn't quite hold for the push higher, but it is what it is. It's coming back in pretty nicely. It came back in all the way down to VWAP right here. So the reversion to VWAP, Neil, definitely came in quite nicely as we came in for that touch in and around. Just going into power hour right here. So right as the beginning of power hour, we bounce off of that VWAP as of right now, holding that 100 mark. Let's see if we can trade a little bit lower. Again, I have no idea, but going into the end of the week, I was expecting a little bit of reversion and chop of that into and of that 100 mark here on the day. But yeah, so we'll see how this one kind of comes into the close. It is 336.
It is 336, and you can look at early look imbalances, which we'll do in a quick little second. And a place where you might be able to look at the imbalances and a heck of a lot of other things is eSignal, where you're able to trade smarter, not harder. And the best part about it, 1 month free, everybody. I mean, come on, 1 month free, first month free. They're still waiving fees. Get a reliable platform, professional trading platform, professional charting platform. You can link it to multiple brokers. You got level 2 access. As I said, you've got the imbalance locator, every indicator you want out there. Back test your strategies, forward test. Use an API. You can automate your strategies, because that's what Obi wants to do. So you can trade absolutely everything. Try it out. 1 month free. Scan the QR code you see out in front of you, everybody. eSignal, pretty much everyone on the desk here uses it, and just with a good reason. So try it out for 1 month. Shout out to eSignal. Let's go to the desk. Adara.
I have a bit more context on the Fed's Kugler situation. So some people I know in the chat were wondering, where does she usually stand on economic issues? This is Fed's Adriana Kugler. Again, according to Axios, apparently she will be stepping down early. Now, what's interesting here, Kugler's position was already set to expire as of early 2026, January 2026 to be specific. So she's only leaving a couple months early, which is a little bit odd, apparently because her position was set to end so soon. Scott Bessent has already publicly opined on the importance of her vacancy. He actually said that whoever comes in to fill her position as of January 2026 could be primed to lead the Fed. So that means that whoever they're priming to lead the Fed, they're going to have a couple more months to see how that individual works, and I guess to see if they fulfill the goals that we know Trump and his team are looking for. Now, the other thing in terms of politically, she was appointed by Joe Biden in 2023, so she's not a Trump appointee, for whatever that's worth, just to provide some context here, because I think it is a little bit important. Again, Adriana Kugler, apparently this seat could be more significant with regards to who's going to take over the Fed than we might have initially expected. Back to you.
Thank you. Yeah, there you go. That's another reason why I think maybe they bid it back up after it fell, is if it's a Biden appointee and if you like rate cuts, then you're more likely to get someone favorable in. And that's, again, we're just talking about the likelihood, not necessarily, I don't have a preference one way or another. It's not about that. But at the end of the day, I think one of the things that we can take at least a hint from, here, I'm going to show you guys the dollar here. If you looked at the Dixie, and you guys can see the trend to the upside, but I also want to pull up the US 10. There you go. Because if you look at yields, why is it not loading? I'm literally double clicking. Why does it hate me? Let's try it again.
Very refreshing.
No, I should not have to refresh. There you go. If you look at the 10-year yield, I don't know why that was troubling. It's been very, very quiet. In a Fed week, usually I'm expecting that we'd have a little bit more action, especially given some of the comments about are we getting a cut, are we not getting a cut? And you had Powell saying there's a chance that we might not cut all year. So the tool went from high probability or decent probability of us actually getting a cut in September to flat out, it was under 50% and trending like as low as in the high 30s percentage-wise. And then we get a jobs number this morning, and the last I checked, we were back at 70% on the Fed funds rate tool, which let's double check it. Hold on, that's not at 82. Are we at 83% of a cut? 83% chance we're cutting. So we've round-tripped it. We've literally this got cut in half a couple of days ago, and it's right back up over 80% just because of some jobs data. Yet we're not exactly getting a bunch of crazy action in the 10-year. So that just tells me, the bond market, which is the biggest market out there, the bond market's I don't know. And apparently the betting market here is no, we're getting that cut, everybody. It's happening. So yeah, you wouldn't be able to tell it by the 2% that we're down in the market, but certainly, we're right back to thinking we're going to get a cut. And if we don't get one, oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't know. Because
don't be rude.
Huh? Depends on huh?
That's funny.
How come I don't have that key? I'm just saying. No, but seriously, if we continuously bounce back to this notion that we're going to get the cut in September, if we don't get it, it's not going to be good. That's how the markets work. If it stays, we have not been in a situation where we've had a surprise, much of a surprise. Surprises haven't been the course of action. They've been relatively transparent, the Fed. But all of a sudden, when they sound like a no, yeah, anyways, let's just hope that, I shouldn't say hope. I think a lot of times it's good when the Fed is transparent. That being said, as a trader, when contested rate moves give you great volatility to trade. So the trading side wants there to be the volatility, and we have no idea what's going to happen. But your economic brain and your the worldview brain prefers it if the markets can see what's coming at the end of the day. And I think we're in a weird time right now because I'm surprised we snapped all the way back after Powell's comments on Wednesday. The fact that we snapped back to an 80% chance of getting the cut in September, that's wild to me. How much are we listening to him? I don't know. Apparently not much.
Yeah, I think, we there's one person we should have listened to.
The man told us to buy the market.
The man, he told us to buy.
Buy.
Here we go. Those are the imbalances. My imbalances alert is showing up now, so only about 8 minutes to go. And yeah, the early look you were looking at, TD's up there.
Not much.
The Canadian banks are hella strong right now.
Just remember, I say this every single time, if the imbalances are led by a Canadian bank, they are dual listed, and it's not any kind of an indication until you see what it comes out in Toronto. So oftentimes, if it's a buy in New York and a sell in Toronto, don't get yourself rinsed. The New York one probably doesn't matter much. BBAI is almost $1 million to sell. Early look on BBAI. That could be worth paying attention. TSLZ's there for 700,000. That's about it. So BBAI would be the only kind of interesting name. Yeah, my charts are on the weekend already. How slow that is. I think it's my It's not the charts. It's my PC. I should restart it. No, BBAI, $1 million to sell, not bad. It's done 65 million shares of volume. But there's nothing else really sticking out, so I might keep an eye on that one. Punch people are saying gold is flying.
Yeah, I just pulled up GDX,
Yeah.
and it's not really flying. What do you mean?
Well, that's a spike. Look at the move. Was that the move on Kugler note?
No, I don't
yeah,
think
I'm sure it is.
Maybe
330?
that 330 move. Yeah, I guess it
That's the
pushed
same.
up about 20 pennies. Yeah, I guess holding that VWAP now, breaking that prior structure.
Well, look, you're looking at GDX. GLD made a better move.
GLD. Okay.
Yeah, go right to. That's the thing.
Spider Gold
the
Trust.
gold miners.
Okay, here we go. Yeah,
the gold miners don't always have to move with gold.
Right.
I know in a general sense they do, but if there's like news specific stuff, go right to GLD. I think it would be a better way to look.
Yeah, that's good to know. Thank you. Yeah, now nice strong push on, excuse me, on GLD there. 309.55s currently trading on that stock right here. So Spider Gold Trust. Oh boy. Okay, so yeah, that's good to know. Thank you, Neil. Yes, you learn something new every. Usually I just go to like GDX or GDXJ or something like that to kind of.
That habit comes from it's an old habit on the floor because we don't have you can.
There's also the leveraged ones, the dust and.
It basically comes down to GDX was always more tradable on events and more liquid. So traders on the floor tended to always trade GDX. But doesn't mean that's a place that you want to look for moves. For a move like that, you're looking at the DXY and you're looking at GLD. Okay. Whether you're trading that's up to you. But you can see, look at the Dixie right back at the highs, and we already showed the chart of gold for everybody in there. That's all.
Nice. Yeah, that's a nice breakout.
It was a good
Solid
breakout.
Yeah.
It wasn't the first place my mind went.
So it's like people are. I guess it's rate sensitive maybe, and people are making the assumption that if people are leaving the board, then maybe things are going to. I don't know. Speculative bid.
Well, it's certainly a speculative, but also it plays into the whole turmoil thing as well.
Yeah.
The more turmoil we get, the more people fly into gold, for sure. Look, we only have about 5 minutes to go. Appreciate the kind words there, Tom Huff, in the chat. If I was on top of it, maybe, just maybe, I would have been long Tesla at 301, or I would have gone long on FIG. It's wild. What's crazy is I was like, it can't break 116. Can't break 116. Let's get out. Well, you could have gone long 116 a couple of times. And you get a couple of bucks out of it. I don't know. I was thinking that trend break, that was pretty much it. I was looking for a place that it would continue. I was actually hoping, and I know maybe there's people long this, but just for a trade, I was hoping it would break down under 16 and then you could grab a 16 short into that 110 bid. So that doesn't happen. And that's the only trade really I was excited about, was the chance to get a move on FIG. And you know what? I'll admit this. Circle on day one was fantastic. Circle on day two was really good as well. Today, for me, FIG is nothing. It was great yesterday, but
great off the open.
It was great. That's what I'm saying.
That was a hard one, though.
If you didn't have the open trade, there just wasn't that much. And that's kind of like yesterday. The open trade was everything. But yeah. Circle was so good on day two. I'm a little disappointed with day two FIG. Let's go to Adara.
The second time in the last few hours, Donald Trump, president of the U.S., has posted on Truth Social about the job numbers. And I'm just going to read it out. In my opinion, today's job numbers were rigged, all caps, in order to make the Republicans and me, all caps, look bad. Just like when, and then he just basically, kind of compares to how, I guess, the jobs data he views was rigged ahead of the election to make him look bad. He calls it a total scam, then says Jerome Too Late Powell is no better, exclamation point. But the good news is our country is doing great, all caps, exclamation point. So, yeah, Donald Trump here, very much, I guess, not a fan of the quote-unquote rigged job numbers. As we heard earlier, he's actually trying to get the person who apparently is responsible for these numbers to be fired. Back to you.
Fake news.
Oh.
Thank you very much, Dara.
It's not new. The complaints over jobs data that's been around as long as I've been trading. So it's absolutely not new, and both sides will complain about it. So when people say, oh, manipulated this and that, I'm like, I'm not inclined to completely disagree with the shenanigans that tend to happen around a lot of the jobs data. And because it's such a politically heated thing, like unemployment's such a big deal. Shout out to Rusta. I don't know the rest of that, so I'm not gonna bother. A lot of weird names in the chat because of whatever's going on with YouTube. So thank you so much, OSRH. We got 2 minutes till the imbalances come out here, so I'll try to get to OSR holdings as quickly as I can, but I know this isn't going to take very long. We appreciate all of our super chats, and I'm not in anything, so I don't mind bringing up a stock when you talk about it. That being said, here's what I will say. I get it. You want me to pull up a penny stock that's done no volume, that's down 9%. And maybe it's because you want it to go up. And I'm not hoping the other direction. I hope it goes up for you too if you got the one to the long side. What I will say is the opportunities on things like this are, generally speaking, when you find a consolidated bottom, when you get a catalyst. But when it's on the way down, just hoping that it's, and I'm not saying this is what you're doing, but there's nothing to see until you find a low of support, get some momentum behind it, or can catch some kind of a catalyst. There's nothing else for it on charts like this and stocks like this. And with 300,000 shares of penny stock, there's not much interest in it at all. So I always sort of say the same thing, but I don't mind bringing it up and repeating that, because sometimes there are really good opportunities off the bottoms on really bad stocks that consolidate for a while. This is not a penny stock, but I would give the example of like Neo, or actually better, Lucid's a better example of this. 20 seconds till imbalance, so I'll be quick about this. Lucid's a really good example. Thank you, Friday Charts. At $2 on Lucid, now I can show you $2 on Lucid, where you wait for it to get to a level, show you a bottom at that level, and then you can work some long. That stock you just super chatted, that's literally making a fresh low as we speak. No mas. No mas. So imbalances are out. ETHA, 3.7 million to sell. NVIDIA, 2.4 million to buy. Intel's a buy of 1.4 million. Apple, a buy of 1.4 million. UiPath, a buy of 1.1 million. Amazon, a buy of 950,000. So obviously buy imbalances. And thank you, SoFi, for being a sell of almost 1 million shares. BBAI at 900,000 sell. Overall, 1.8 billion to buy on the market. That's good, not great. Nasdaq, 900 million to buy. The Dow is 700 million to buy. That's not a huge imbalance for NVIDIA, that 2.5 million. It's not the first time we've seen ETHA on the imbalance locator. 3.7 million into 4.3 million. What's it doing? That's my first thought. That's the biggest imbalance to the sell side. Didn't really even move much. Already trending down. ETH has been on a pullback. That said, we've been trying to break out that 4,000 area on ETH, so that's a good reason why you're running into big resistance. You're not going to just punch through it the first time. It's going to have to work its way through if it even gets through it at all.
Yeah, this FIG is pushing up to the upside right now. 120 is coming in. I was looking for that bid coming into the end of the day here. And yeah, it seems like that consolidation 116, finally kind of breaking out. VWAP's all the way at 123s I have here. But yeah, a little bit of a push. And did we cover that super chat, Neil, of where'd it go?
Oh.
NVTS.
Oh, no,
so
I didn't get
Jack55 saying, Jack asking NVTS on the next few trading days, question mark. I don't know. I can't really tell the future. I don't think any of us can, but let's see what it's been doing. That's, again, limited information that's been printed for us on the chart. You will tell the future?
Buffalo Bills win the Super Bowl this year.
Oh, boy. Yeah, go Buffalo Bills. Yes, that's football, I'm going to assume. That's football, right? One of the sports.
Woosa.
Is that football? That's football. That is Buffalo Bills. There you go. His shirt's coming off. His jersey's coming off the front.
Oh, no.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my goodness.
Neil, this is a PG-rated show.
What is going on? That's not very well.
We gotta stick that back on there. Oh, boy.
That's pretty bad.
Buddy's getting naked over here. Yeah, NVTS Semiconductor Corporation, bit of a double top. Interesting enough, I was looking at this stock, I guess earlier on last week, and this double top was quite interesting. And you can see coming into this week, Monday, Tuesday, that level rejecting pretty nicely here as well. So yeah, it seems like that double top is a little bit of an interesting level here. We've sold out into it. Nice reversion of this selling that's been happening over the past couple of days here, coming into the end of the week as well. So yeah, interesting look on here. Let's go to higher time frame real quick and see what is up with Navitas. So yeah, a lot of volume coming in. Oh boy, all right. So yeah, a lot of volume coming in, low volume sell off right there, holds a higher level, and then now we're pushing up a little bit through that prior level there. So that double top is coming in here on the weekly chart. Let's see if we can push that level. I think that level is going to be pretty interesting if we can push past that, and that's sitting at $9.48. If we can if we can continue this bid going into next week and push some of those levels, then yeah, that might be something interesting that I would like to look at. But I don't know, any ideas here on Navitas, Neil?
See, I actually like that chart for like the break back out.
Yeah,
but like it
looks nice.
We're ending the week here, so it's like you have to wait for the continuation on Monday to see if it holds that prior high. And if it does, for like even like the first day, you look for the play back in and somewhere in the 8s to play it into like 9.5. But that's a wait and see. Like you can swing that. And if you swing it, the problem is your risk is all the way down to $7, as opposed to if you were trying to take a bull flag like that in the morning, you have all day for it to hold 780 and go higher. But speaking of swing trading, everybody, Trade the Pool swing trading programs are here, where you can access up to $40,000 in buying power to trade real shares and not CFDs. You can hold positions overnight, over the weekend, and enjoy limited risk, thanks to a one-time evaluation fee and no monthly payments, no hidden costs. Take Vicente J, for example, one of Trade the Pool's swing traders, locked in over $23,000 in profits, and his top performer was NMAX, shorted from April 20th, 420, to May 30th, and pulled in a $6,700 gain. Trade the Pool is giving swing traders the tools, the time, and the capital to thrive. Scan the QR code, enjoy 10% off. Imbalances, not huge, but mostly to the buy side. 55 hit. ETH paired off to 2.1 million to sell, was 3.7 when it came out. The NVDA imbalance did flip. It was a buy. Amazon is now a sell of 750,000. So UiPath is 1.5 million still, but everything else more or less paired off there. What's UiPath doing? Still a buy of 1.4 mil. That's a good chunk of the volume. It's done 12 million volume on the day. Not moving. Not even reacting to a 1.4 million buy imbalance. Good job, UiPath. Yeah, the sellers really must love that one. Down 5 points today. And it doesn't even budge when the buy imbalance is over 10% of the day's volume. Why wouldn't it budge? Why does no one seem to want to care about the buy imbalance? Probably because this stock just did a flat bottom break and seems like it's headed much lower. Kathy Wood can't be happy about that one. I think she's in this.
Which one? Path?
Path, isn't it? I think
I don't know if she's in
UiPath is the Kathy Wood name, right? I'm not making that up. I think I'm right about that, but I'm willing to be corrected if I'm wrong, obviously.
UiPath, yes, UiPath is held by ARK Innovation. Specifically, Path is one of the largest holdings in ARKK. So he's made recent trades, including both buying and so yeah, decent chunk here.
You know why I knew this? Because the other day there was a story about UiPath about her buying, and I remember it included the average price. And I remember looking at the chart and being like, how the heck is that the average price on stock? Like, it was something ridiculous, like in the teens at a time when you're like, there's no way.
I believe that was Unity, actually.
Was it Unity? Okay, fine. But either way, like Path is probably the same thing. But you're right. I think it was Unity. But like there's so many of these charts in the ARK where like if you look at it, sometimes they're really, really bad. And you're like, you got that price and you've liked the stock for that long. It really must mean that you loaded the you-know-what up dollar cost averaging. It was like Unity at 17. I'm like, that's a perfect price if you bought it only at the bottom. But if you've been a buyer in Unity for a long time, having an average price of 17 meant that you were doing some serious DCAing since COVID in this stock. Because like if you, whatever, like you zoom it in far enough, it looks really good. You zoom it back out, and you're like, yeah, well, if you liked it since 2020, that's 2022. Like you must have only liked it recently. Even this is like, that's the 30s in here. To have a price of 17, 17's all the way at the bottom. So, I don't know. And then that's not, I'm not harping on Cathie Wood. I'm just sort of simply saying from a DCA, like my brain broke at the math of having that position, or that price, sorry, looking at the daily chart and understanding it's a stock you've liked for a while. Like it was just like, what? How is that even possible? How is it only 2 minutes left to go and I have to get to the desk to make sure I'm set up for the aftermarket show? Yeah. So with that, I'm gonna leave with Obi. Stick around because it's a Friday. That means that Darren and I are gonna have fun on the desk. We can answer your questions. We can go over some week's trades. We can go over anything you want. Hopefully if it's market related. But thank you, great job filling in for my man Sean. I'll see you guys in a couple of minutes at the desk.
Thank you very much, Neil. I'm just watching FIG going into the close and see if it'll give us some more flowering price action through that 120. I was watching this consolidation high. This 116 hold was quite nice. Prior structure high at that 120. We're pushing up. I mean, I'll be honest. I'm looking for a squeeze into the close, and we did catch a little bit of a bid over the past, I guess, a half an hour or so after a consolidation hold on top of that 116. So solid week, I guess. Only 2 days traded so far on FIG. I'm really curious to know what it's going to do coming in. I got to get ready for the countdown here. And yeah, so there's only about roughly a minute left until the close. And FIG is definitely going to be a strong trading vehicle continuing forward. I think it was great today. It was absolutely amazing yesterday as well. Hopefully you guys participated. Yeah. And hopefully you guys had a solid day with us here at Trader TV Live as well. I gotta time this countdown. Just like trading, the timing, sometimes really matters. So I gotta press the button at the right time. As the time coming down, 40 seconds. People ask me, why don't you have a watch on your screens anywhere, Obi? Well, guess what? The tape is faster than the time, and there you go. 49's coming in. So thank you very much, Adara, for ringing the bell for us. So hopefully you guys had an awesome day here. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. That closes off the week here. Another amazing week. A crazy end. I guess yesterday was the end of the month. Today was the first day of August, so hopefully you guys had a solid month and the beginning of a new one with FIG. I think that this is going to continue to be. Sometimes I'm bad with words. This is going to continue to be a great trading vehicle going forward as well. We saw how Circle did. We saw how CoreWeave did. Those things are on the backside of their moves. Pretty solid. I'm going to be waiting for the potential backside of this move, but as of right now, we're still holding some nice levels here. So let's just quickly go over some of the action that FIG has given us. And we'll see what it kind of did. And going into next week, maybe we can do some planning as well. That 148.80 is that all-time high, that after hours high from prior day. Beautiful push off of the open. Solid for the market on open, and a nice continuation going into the end of the day as well. Consolidating on top of anchored VWAP pretty much all day after a strong flush. Nice reversion into the VWAP right off of the open on the day today. So that was very beautiful. I'm going to continue watching this one. Hopefully you guys have a solid weekend. Without any further ado, I see Neil and Dara are waiting for us, ready for the market recap. So you guys don't go anywhere. I'll see you guys around. Take it easy.
Thank you very much, Obi. It's market recap time, everybody. And what an unbelievable, busy and crazy and exciting week we have had. I don't even know. We can start in a million places. We had a lot of earnings this week. Meg 7 to the roof. It's the biggest by market cap earnings week. You had the highs of Meta and obviously maybe the lows of Amazon and Coinbase. We had Fed Powell on Wednesday take us from maybe we're not getting cuts in September, and maybe not for the rest of the year, to getting a jobs number this morning that completely reversed everything to the point where now we're back to 80% chance of getting a cut in September. In a couple of days, that reversal happened. On top of that, we're getting a shakeup at the Fed, where we're going to get a new member, which potentially, Adara, could be this replacement, whoever they name, could be the heir apparent. Just a million things happening, all jam-packed into 1 week. Oh, and by the way, FIG was amazing as an IPO.
Yeah, there is some craziness. Like, I was even trying to think, what did I even trade this? I know I did it memory, guys. And I'm like, if I'm like, I don't remember what I traded this week. It was a crazy week. I think, you know, we could go a whole bunch of different places. I could probably talk for the entire 30 minutes about how I feel about this Fed switch up, because if you guys have seen me on the show, you know I'm a very analytical person. I like to do my deep dives, as Sharif will sometimes call them. I like to get information and data. And so amidst the whole search for who's going to be the next Fed chair, I looked into kind of, I guess, the pedigree of the most recent Fed chairs. And so there were a couple things they all had in common. A lot of them had served at one point on the Fed board.
Yes.
In some capacity. A lot of them, or I guess in one particular case, I believe it was Ben Bernanke, he was initially appointed as the head of the Economic Council before he was given the position of Fed chair. So that gives our boy Kevin Hassett a decent look. Now, I don't know, we know Trump, like, we hear a lot about the strategic uncertainty, right? So I don't know how far ahead that's being planned. But either way, like, it's worth noting, Trump's chief of staff, Susie Wiles, she's very calculated. If she's involved in any of these hiring moves, I 100% think, I did a deep dive on her once as well, I 100% think that that could be planned. But regardless, like, if you think about the four people that are really seen as the top contenders for the Fed, we're talking the Kevins, so Kevin Warsh, Kevin Hassett, then we're talking Christopher Waller, and we're also talking Scott Bessent. All of these three, except for Scott Bessent, have some element of the pedigree of previous Fed chairs. So in the case of Hassett, you know, National Economic Council lead, right? In the case of the other two, either current Fed board member or prior Fed board member. Scott Bessent is his own little world here. He doesn't really fit into these categories, but I don't think he's going to do it. He's been really awkward when they've asked him. The White House has denied it, so I think he's almost out of the race. I'll stop ranting now, but either way, like, given the research I did, I actually think it's a three-way race between these three, but Kevin Hassett is gaining steam at rapid velocity.
And, like, here's the other thing. As someone who said pedigree doesn't matter, fealty matters more. Well, in this particular case, whoever gets named in this replacement is going to, look, man, it'll be a Trump appointee, so that's not relevant. I think it's more along the lines of it's already going to be a President Trump appointee, so will it be someone with the regular pedigree? This is the thing about the world, and I know it's not always, let's be real. If everyone has certain sets of credentials and roles in the same types of circles before they get a position in the past, that tends to be how it plays out. So if you're just looking at who is most likely, I think Adara is absolutely spot on for that. Now, if we're going back to the crazy week that we had, there's one thing that I don't know if it got talked enough. I know Figma is crazy and Tesla's been nuts and Meta was amazing, but I don't know that enough was said about Amazon.
That's actually crazy.
Because here's the thing. Amazon, for a lot of people, was a stock that you weren't that concerned about, I think, going into earnings. And then, okay, Google had a good report and maybe it wasn't bought up the way you expected it to. So you're like, yeah, but the report was good. And then Microsoft went ham and that got sold off. You're like, yeah, but the quarter was great and it was at all-time highs. And then Meta went ham and you're like, okay, well, that's what you're supposed, and Meta held up pretty well. Amazon flat out tanked it on the cloud number, AWS, in terms of growth, and that was nasty, and it's going to close under the 50-period moving average. Now, we've made a bit of a topping tail in the Qs. You've done so in the SPY. This is one where, my goodness, this is not what a lot of people expected. It was churning on its way to an all-time high, and all of a sudden, that is a nasty reversal, specifically on Amazon, and it's more about how it differentiated itself from some of the other Mag 7 than just its own report. It's just like the comparison side by side in cloud to Google and Microsoft was damning for them this time.
Yeah, and I think from a technical basis, I saw this a couple times on earnings today. These names would push up higher, they'd double top, and they'd sell off. There was another one, MSTR double top, but later in the day, trying to think of, was not Reddit. There was another name that did this. I need to quickly look. I know Sharif put out a whole bunch of earnings notes. But either way, like this is kind of a thing you're seeing. I found at least today, you do these like quick, fast double tops, and then there is the tankage. It was it was at $66. I know that for sure. Was it Hims? It wasn't that. If it was Hims, it wasn't earnings. But either way, it was Hims. So Hims doing that double top off the open. This was not earnings, so I apologize. I was wrong about that. But either way, we had this pattern today all day, Neil. Like with some of these names doing that double top.
Did you
and
get
drop.
this one?
I did not play with that. I did have some fun with my friend UNH, as we know. But yeah, Hims, honestly, I'm not even going to lie, not really on my radar.
That was a good short.
Very much my mistake. That would have been a great short off the open. One of the shorts I wanted off the open that I missed because it was like so fast, and congrats to anybody who was in this, Carvana 382. Holy cannoli. Because the thing is, too, I moved from my other desk over to this desk, right? So sometimes I don't get my P-Pro fast enough for these opening trades. At 100% is what it is. And like, honestly, you know, I don't mind. So sometimes you miss opportunities.
No,
right?
there's not much you can do about it. That's one thing on the show. Like there are all kinds of situations where the dynamics of the show, you know, and putting on a show for you guys actually costs an opportunity. And
but that's what it is, right? We're here for the show, and with that in mind, like I'm just happy to be here.
You learn, this is the thing, over time, at first, I can tell you, at first, we used to get a little frustrated by it. One thing you guys don't, nobody knows this because it was before we were on YouTube. For like 8 months before the show was on YouTube, it was an internal broadcast to all of the trading floors at Real Trading. There was an education for just the traders at Real Trading, and it was only on in the morning, and we only did it a couple of hours. However, we still did, it was only Sean and I, and if we went to, like if we had an interview of like, we'd have someone coming from like the Nasdaq or something like that, talk about market structure, one of us had to leave the trading desk and then go do the interview.
Oh my gosh.
And it was straight, it was just Sean and myself. And so imagine the dynamics if you're trading the morning and then one of us has to get away from our trading desk and go, we would take turns doing it. And I remember one time I had this position on and it doesn't really matter. I went up to go to the desk and I came back and was just, I remember being so mad. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I'm like, there was the win. And it was like, I didn't get a chance to manage like an actual, the trade mattered, but it was the show, and I was doing the show, and that's the thing. You just live with it, and over time, you understand that those things even out over time. Yeah. That said, I want to address two things. First, Diet Soda in the chat makes a good point. Good name. To be fair, Neil, Microsoft after today lost most of its earnings push-up. I agree. That is absolutely fair in a comparison to Amazon. But I just think that Amazon gapped down instead of gapping up and losing it. It gapped down mostly because of that comparison. Like I don't think
that's a good point.
Like if you have that same quarter that Amazon just had, but Microsoft and Alphabet had cloud growth in the 20s instead of the 30s, a little bit closer to Amazon, I don't think Amazon's down 9 points. That's what I'm getting. I think the direct comparison made it look really bad for them. But the other name that got smoked today was MSTR. Now Bitcoin didn't have a very good day either. So this is not a situation where it was going down because Bitcoin was flat. No, instead it got punished here, losing the 50 on the daily. It was in a nice upward trend. And this is sort of the deal with MSTR. You got to live with it. Like you're in a consolidation off the top in Bitcoin, but you're losing support in MSTR. That's just how this stock works. I'm a rather be in Bitcoin kind of person. But the other thing I also believe, and you'll see this reflected in the moving averages here, you should care about the moving averages to the extent that whatever you're looking at really respects them. And when you have look at the 50 and the 200, and you tell me which one you'd be more interested in trying to buy MSTR off of. And we'll wait a couple of seconds for you to figure out. It's not that it's never good to take a shot off the 50 period, but you lose here, you lose all in here. Oh, you're good there. You're kind of good there, and you're kind of good there. Or you look at the 200, and the last two tests have been very good and 2 for 2. So next week, you're into a level on MSTR that maybe it's worth waiting for, favor the short till it gets to that 200 period. Yet another earnings name that got smoked, and there were a lot of them. We could talk about Coinbase as well here or there. That was not very pretty either.
Yeah.
This one shocked a lot of people, I think.
Well, I mean, honestly, like I kind of said this didn't shock me that much if you look at the history of
Fair.
Coinbase's earnings. So they have a pretty, like I was kind of, I'm not going to lie, I was kind of shocked when they were added to the S&P 500 because their profitability is not at all consistent. And I showed an infographic to this effect like yesterday. To all of 2022, no profit. They were not profitable one single quarter. They were not profitable on the year. They were only profitable this quarter because of the Circle IPO, which is wild because as I said in the midday, obviously joking, it's not like that's gonna happen every quarter. That happens one time. Now, unless they find another circle, like, I don't know, a rectangle or a pentagon. I'm not gonna say square because there's already a square, but either way, like Coinbase as an S&P 500 ad already felt odd to me. The fact that they barely scraped by on profit in their first quarter with the index, which by the way, that is part of the requirement of being in said index. Yikes.
You're not gonna like the why.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, and don't like. Okay, this is not tinfoil hat stuff, but it's gonna sound like it.
I'm curious.
I know what, like I said it under my breath, it should have been Robinhood. I'm sure a lot of people believe that as well. That being said, who did Coin partner with this week?
Oh, JP.
JP Morgan. Okay? So,
yep, there we go.
There you go. I mean, like, anyways, that's it. I'm like, I'm not saying, I'm just saying. I'm not saying, I'm just saying, everybody. Robinhood, Coinbase, look, candidly speaking, I say that I own shares of Coinbase. I don't even own Robinhood. So, you know, I'm not even sitting here. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Like, I think at some point, Robinhood's going to get into the S&P 500, but it's just not at this point right now. And clearly, like, if the big dogs like some Coinbase, then Coinbase goes in first, and that's how it's going to be. And you move on to the next. We move on to the next week, Adara, is
Palantir.
Monday morning. Monday, not Monday morning.
Yeah.
I mean Monday after the bell.
Yes.
Palantir. This is, when you talk about high stakes, the run it's been on, the valuation, the market at the highs, slight pullback in here. There's a lot riding on this one. If there's a name that we saw Amazon go down 9%, we just saw Coinbase go down 16%. What the heck happens to Palantir for the disappointment?
I'm scared.
25? 30?
Honestly, realistically, it could.
If they miss, yeah, 25 to 30%. Like, don't get me wrong. I think this company, I'm probably not as crazy about it as Sean is, but there's no question that there's huge revenue potential in the future. But they're growing into that valuation. And when you're growing into the valuation, just because you're an upward trend, Tesla went through this. You can have weeks of 30% down. It happens. Yeah. Tesla did it too when it had this kind of crazy valuation story. So a lot at stake here for Palantir on Monday. What a crazy way to start the week next week.
Yeah, I want to say too quickly before we get our friend Steve Talman in here, I think with Palantir, one of the biggest things for them in terms of fundamental catalyst is their military contracts, their contracts with the government. Now we know OpenAI already snagged a contract. Palantir stock reacted terribly. Apparently now the Army at least is trying to consolidate all of its deals with Palantir, but just because they're doing that does not mean they're going to make more deals with Palantir. So I actually think that's kind of a thing to be cautious about. I want to clarify, I'm not bearish on any of these names. I'm just sharing my opinion. I like to play devil's advocate. Also, in terms of earnings days next week, I'm not even going to lie, Neil, I'm most excited for Thursday morning. Why? Because two of my favorite stocks to trade intraday are coming through on Thursday. Eli Lilly and AppLovin. So I am like, I'm going to have to, I don't know what I'll do, but I'm very, very excited. Eli Lilly was great last earnings. It did what Obi would call a reversion of the reversion. Drummer please, of the reversion. So it's like Lilly could have played all day, every day. So I mean, like, we're gonna have to wait and find out what happens there, but I'm very excited for Thursday. Although, again, I'm excited to see what this whole week brings.
Exactly, there's lots to bring next week. But right now, we got some trader talk. We got our good friend, Steve Talman. My stream deck is not even working, so let's bring him on in. Always love to talk to the man, and I know we'll have a lot to discuss. What a crazy week it's been. Let's bring in Steve. There he is, our good friend, Steve Talman. So, I don't know about you, but this was an exhausting week. Whether it was just waiting around until 2 o'clock yesterday for Figma to open, setting a new record in futility to get an IPO open, or all the earnings, or the Fed. It's been busy. First off, how are you doing?
Feeling pretty good, but I'm with you. It's been a long week. It's really exhausting, these earnings weeks on big companies. There's so much to keep track of, so much to kind of reevaluate as you work through your theses here. And so some of my theses are being tested. In general, I think this is a healthy pullback so far, though.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. It's just some of the pullbacks, and Coinbase would be an example of some of the charts. It's like, whoa, that was maybe more than we were expecting, or maybe people didn't think Amazon would pull back 8 or 9%. But before we get into some of the overall market themes, I just want to quickly ask you, Figma yesterday, did you trade it at all? This was one of those. I don't think that this can keep happening because Circle took forever to open and goes immediately into an uphold. The percentage move is ridiculous. And then we get the same thing with Figma a second time. The underwriters can't possibly keep bungling this and handing day traders free money like they are. No, I hope they do, but this is insane. It is literally free. People are making their months when these guys get it so wrong, and then we can just buy the open and laugh for like 15 minutes to an hour. It's crazy.
It's pretty wild, the replicability of some of these setups, right? I mean, like you said, it's basically free money if you know what to look for and you know how to hit it. Personally, honestly, I didn't touch it. I haven't looked at the Figma chart. I feel bad. I feel like I'm missing out on my responsibilities, but they're just not my wheelhouse. Yeah. So I keep my hands and fingers out of the machinery, I guess.
No, you're not alone. And I've said it before, the take the open trade's a gimmicky one that feel like if you haven't been making some bank on it before, you'll just feel bad if you take it the first time you do it, it rinses. But when you've been doing it a while, and it's like, you make on this, you make on this, you make on this, you don't mind. If I lose on Discord whenever it opens up taking the opening print, I can live with it because Circle was great and CoreWeave was great and Figma was great. But the first time it happens, if you take a hit, I can understand it totally. Just going back to the theme of this overall pullback in the markets, we're not quite through earnings season. We're through the biggest week in earnings season. Where are you at in terms of maybe like some of the swing entries? Are you waiting things out? I feel like this was a kind of week that reset things for us. Would you be looking to enter, or are you still waiting things out in earnings season and waiting for more market direction after kind of a decent reversal?
I mean, it's a great question. So I think it's really important to keep in mind where we are in the bigger picture. We've had a pretty meteoric run here. We've bucked bad news consistently. We've bought good news. I think the market needs to cool down just in general. Right now, we did gap down to the, the 20-day EMA here. I can pull that up for you if you like. So we gapped down to the 20-day EMA, the yellow line. And I mean, it's never a good sign to open below a key moving average that we'd like to see holding for support. It's even worse when it trades or when it closes below the little volume shelf we've been forming. See on the left side here. So it's not a good look. I won't lie to you here. We were also pretty oversold, overbought, couldn't pop through this Bollinger Band. So I'm just really watching this band of liquidity here, or of volume, I should say, from 125 to 123-ish, 122.50. I think that's going to be a good tell going into next week.
Yeah, I think you're dead. I think you're right about that. And I'm kind of in the wait and see mode for a lot of things too. Like I wouldn't want to be comfortably in any swings. I don't do a lot of swing trading, but this is certainly not a moment that I'd be trying to pick. I don't swing short, so trying to pick some longs this early doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But I gotta ask, I've always loved you're always very candid about your positions and how they're doing, and we always appreciate that honesty. But I have to ask you about something which you got so very right, and hymns being hymns was just, it did what it did. I want to, because it looks like it might even be trying to pull back for another run at the highs. Like it's been steady Eddie. I know the market pulled back, and I know it pulled back off the top today. Is this a stock you'd look to get back into? Because man, does it ever look bullish, that chart.
So this is one of those names that likes to mess with me. I should have just stuck with the initial thesis and averaged down, but this was a broken chart to me.
Yeah.
I was mentioning in here that it is holding, but I think I was just a little gun shy because I just took a big loss. So I'm calling this a loss on my part for not getting back in when the setup was revalidated, when it held these moving averages. I think you're right. I think it's going higher. I don't completely understand how, but I don't need to, right?
Yeah, that's sort of the thing. And we've said it before, for anyone that's tuning in for the first time, when you have a technical trade, there's nothing you can do about news coming in and stopping you out. That's just life. That's the life of a trader. I've had it happen to me. I know it happened to you here. And then it's the worst. It goes right back and you're absolutely fine despite the bad news. So, look, it is what it is. I was curious of the thoughts because I think one of the things that's always important here is to have an idea. If you don't see a setup that you really like, you don't get back into it. But if you do, maybe you do get into it. So this brings me to, are there any current swings that you do like, that you're still in, that you're holding on to, or what your next plans are? Because I think a lot of these small cappers, a lot of these runner stocks do look pretty good. I mean, SoFi actually still looks pretty good as a runner, just to give an example. So is there anything that you still have on your radar that you're holding on to despite this pullback?
Absolutely. So I still have some runner positions in, let me check my list here, ASTS, OKLO. Those are doing decently, all things considered. I mean, you can't be too mad at retesting all-time highs. So I'm holding the names that are working. I got stopped out of a decent amount of my long runners, like Coin. Obviously, that was rough. I got stopped out on this day here on the close under the 20-day. So I avoided this, and now I'm considering looking for a setup. But this kind of ties into your question earlier, where am I entering new swings in general? So I'm really watching sectoral rotation, and I'm seeing strong setups in risk-off sectors, combined with the potentially broken charts in the megas. Some of the megas like Apple broke down, Amazon. I'm thinking we could start see money flowing into things like healthcare, energy. I like tankers. So I'm kind of all over the place, and this week's a big wait and see for me to kind of feel out where the money's heading.
I'm with you on that. And I just want to point out, when you say sector rotation into healthcare, for everyone watching who keeps asking, he probably doesn't mean UNH, everybody, okay? Because every single, Steve, I cannot tell you, and I have nothing against the people that are always asking about UNH and where is the bottom, but broken charts are broken charts. And we do. And most most traders try not to catch a falling knife if they can avoid it. I want to come back to Oklo, though, because if there's a theme that's held, even with this pullback, and I'm talking about a theme, and it's certainly held up with all of the hyperscalers so far, the CapEx spend is still there. And as long as we went 3 for 3 in that regard. And so these have held. The nuclear names have held. The bigger names like GEV and Vista, they've all held. So it makes sense that it's holding up fundamentally and both with the chart. My question to you would be this: if they start punishing if we continue to move to the downside on some of these bigger cap hyperscalers, despite the fact that they're spending, they start getting punished for that spending. Would that fundamentally make you question your Oklo? And I'm only asking this because I've already said the second I see weakness there, I'm covering some of my GEV that I hold. So I'm looking for an exit point myself on those because I believe they've run pretty well. What are your thoughts on Oklo? What's going to get you out of this stock?
Absolutely. So what's going to get me out of it is a major narrative shift, or much more likely just a technical break of the key level. And then it will be a HIMSS type situation where it's on the focus list to monitor for a re-entry with profits. I think these themes are going to keep going. I think if we see a big pullback in the hyperscaler type names, that's a buy opportunity. And I would be looking to position for the kind of mid to later innings of the AI trade in places that are more picks and shovels and less flashy, like NVIDIA, all the cool AI stuff, if that makes sense.
Well, we like the AI stuff. Oh man, I love NVIDIA. NVIDIA is such a great stock, but what I don't want to have happen to it, I don't want it to turn into an Apple where it's like, this is a stock that you own but don't trade. No, we like it better when it's a stock that you own and trade. Apple's too boring for us. We don't like that one at all. There's another question I wanted to ask you, only because this came up and it's just, Obi and I are having this discussion. I don't even remember how it came up. When I was saying, and I guess some people were surprised by this, I've never swung short, ever in my life. I will short as a day trader, but if I ever swing, I only swing trade to the long side. Do you have that kind of preference, or do you kind of just trade the setups and go either direction?
Well, you're a smart man. If you look at the numbers, swinging long, often a good idea. Swinging short usually doesn't work out too well as a long-term strategy. So I'm with you. I rarely swing short. When I do, I'm holding long positions. I would so much rather get out, on a push of strength on a couple names that I'm swing trading and then get stopped out on runners and then just get back in when it's time than, overmanage positions. So I grab hedges when things are way high, but in general, I don't swing short. It's a loser's game, I found.
Okay, and again, I have nothing against it. I was just curious because we get a chance to talk as traders over the time, and I know I'm not alone in that, but I always get the feeling it's like, well, how alone maybe am I in that regard? Well, I'll tell you that I'm pretty sure Sean doesn't either. I think he's taken one or two, but I know over the years, I don't think he's done much of it, and I feel like a lot of traders are of that regard. But I also think it's a lot of older, experienced traders that feel that way, and the younger traders tend to, not that you're not young, you're a heck of a lot younger than I am, but younger traders are a little bit more, what's the word I want to use, aggressive and lay like that risk. So anyways, I thought it was an interesting question out there. I believe you can do either way. You can make money on any kind of a setup. Just have rules and have outs. Before we get you out of here, Steve, anything you wanted to finish with, anything that we didn't maybe cover that you wanted to talk about, I always want to make sure you get that last word.
Oh, I appreciate that. In terms of stocks that I'm watching, I'm just really interested I like FRO for tankers. They're a high quality company in a space that often excels in sketchy environments. I can pull that chart up for you if you like. FRO. Ooh. And just getting real tight here. Long term, I think it's a bullish pattern. So I'm watching the energy space. There's a few other names that I will have for you on Twitter this weekend. But for now, this is what I'm rocking with. I missed this one, but keeping an eye on these tobacco names. Altria here is going crazy. Philip Morris as well. So yeah, keeping an eye on the defensive names. Watching for a wick up into this 21-day EMA. Sorry, I'm jumping all over the place here. I'll be watching for this next week. And then if you'd like to hear more from me, I will be doing a webinar on oscillator indicators in about 15 minutes over at Trade the Pool's YouTube channel.
There you go. That's our friend over at Trade the Pool, Steve Talman. Check him out on X for some updates at FRO. I can say Fro. You know what I'm talking about. With a nice golden cross on the daily as well, just a couple of weeks ago. So you do have that bullish as well. A good look there. I don't usually look at the tobacco names. I'll admit, I'm one of those people that would not invest in a tobacco company, but it doesn't mean you can't trade it, everybody. As always, a pleasure. Have a fantastic weekend. We look forward to talking next week. Best of luck with all your trades. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks so much. Take care.
Take care. And we're back.
Thank you, Steve.
Always a fantastic interview. And the best thing about it, I love just the raw honesty. It's like, because there's nothing, with that HIMS trade, everybody, there is nothing more frustrating than having a technical trade that is working and then have random news stop you out, and then it goes right back to working. I can absolutely, it is the worst ever, but because it's like you were dead right, but there's just nothing you could have done about it. What, not have a stop? Get out of here. And that's the problem. If you do that, don't have a stop, and then it kind of works out after, you don't want that situation. You want to be disciplined like Steve and just get out and be like, well, fine, that kind of sucked, and then move on to the next trade. Trust me, over time, it'll save you by having that approach. Look, it's been a wild week. It's been a fun week. We got to 530,000 subscribers today.
We did.
Which is always fun to hit a round number. But every single time we hit a number like that, or any kind of a milestone, or just have a big week, my first thought is how much fun it is to do this for all of you guys.
Yeah.
And girls, and men and women, and traders, and whomever you are. Because we have such a really good community. I mean, when I said it earlier about how our trading community helps each other out and asks questions to each other and answers questions, even when we can't get to them. It's fantastic. And every time Adara comes on, it's like, get it, Adara, and thank you so much for. I just love seeing that. It makes it a heck of a lot more fun to trade.
Yeah, we love doing it. Yeah.
For everybody out here. It's a blessing for us to do it. So when we do roll call today, everybody, what I want you to do is, we'll give shout outs to Team Ramin, because we're all Team Ramin around here. We'll give shout outs to Fabian and Andre and Obi for filling in for Sean and Brendo and the Midday Boys and Sharif and Joe and Adara, and our guest Steve today and Michael Noss and all of our other fantastic guests and everyone that works on the team. How about this though? This time I want you to type in the chat for roll call. First, hit the subscribe button, because you got to do that to be in the chat. but I want you to give a shout out to the Trader TV Live community. Give yourselves a pat on the back for all being amazing. We had a big week, but you guys have all been great this week. So shout out to you, the viewers, and let's get some roll call.
Yeah, get it, chat. I mean, get it, Neil, Sean, Sharif, Joe, Obi. We have Brendan, we have Ramin, Fabian, Andre, and we have this chat, 215 sugar-free, Jacques Demornier. We've got Glass Half Full, Theory of Stars, Stevenson, HN, Ryan O'Day, Dumbo Things Films, James H., Rivian Millionaire, TTV, Neil, why not, why not? Why not indeed? 420 Bud Monster, Chris, Cindy B, Big Joel. We've got American WBSK, RJ Trades, Anil, Gagwa, Bristol 69, Chris J, John N. We have Big Joel again here, Chris Simonelli, why not again, Tracer Austin, Blip Blorpus. We've got Just Do It. We have Derek Thompson, Shanti. We have American again here, Gaurav Sadchev. We've got Ronaldo, Rico McLean, Maris Brasks, Ike 3333, Mr. Ian, Cloud C 522, Jesus is high, Candle Whip. There's so much in the chat. It's so weird with these ats, but thank you guys all for being here. So I didn't get to name everybody, but it was awesome. And hashtag Team Ram Ram.
That's right. Forever. What's up, Sharif? Sharif's not even here, and we can still let him know that we are all Team Ram Ram around here because there is no team without Ramin. That is just straight up true. And the more I say it, the more she brings chocolates because she's so kind.
Is that why you're doing it?
Absolutely not. I do it because Ram Ram's a good person. That's why I say it. Not because she gives me treats. Related. I'm not that terrible. But no, it's been a fun one. We have a great team. We have fun around here. We all trust me. Like they're like brother and sister, Sharif and Ramin. It's a hilarious relationship. But anyways, we love you guys. It's been fun. It's gonna be great because next week we get to do all again. We got Palantir on Monday. We got a host of other things going on.
Maybe a new Fed person.
Maybe we get a new member of the Fed. Who knows, everybody? But we'll be right back next week, Monday morning at 8:30. This has been your market recap show brought to you by ProfitX, and we're Trader TV Live. See you next week.
See you soon.
And AMD earnings, too. We didn't even say that next week.
AMD.